Okay, tweet and Discord post are away.
Hello everybody, welcome to a very special live stream. Today we have Flashshifter with us, the creator of Stardew Valley Expanded. Hello Flashshifter, welcome.
Hello everyone.
If you have any questions for Flash today, just go ahead and ask them whenever you like. We'll pepper them in to the conversation. Super chat and donations that get recorded. But we're recording everything anyway. We got our mods on it. So if you're dying to get a question answered, we will do our best to get it to you. We'll pepper them through the interview, but we'll also have a dedicated question section for you all to ask away at the end of the stream. Let's go over to the live scene with Hamish McTackleberry, who's been bribed to be on his best behavior today. Welcome to the farm, Flash.
Thanks for having me.
This is great, to be honest. It is quite awesome that you were up for this. I hope everybody's...
Yeah, it's my first live interview, so I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people saying hi.
Hello.
Hi, Keychain, PD. Our mods are here. Typical unicorns and lovely Phoenix. Let's let everybody get in here. How are you doing, Hamish?
Pretty good. I'm ready to go. You better pay up on what you promised me, or I'll ask very strange questions.
Well, yeah, don't do that. Thank you. Questions are already popping up in the chat, which hopefully our mods are sweeping up. It's a very good question from Otar Kramer is going to come up. Let's kick things off with a little warm-up question and ask Flash a question about your avatar name. You've got a little cute fairy person, if they are fairy, and like a not the fetish, but the cutesy kind. What am I saying? I'm digging a hole. And your name is Flashshifter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Why you have that name?
Yeah, of course. My avatar is actually a dust sprite, kind of inspired from Studio Ghibli films. I've always loved Studio Ghibli films. And there definitely is a story behind my username. I'm a pretty firm believer that there's a story behind anyone's username, really. After all, it's one of those prominent and passive ways to express yourself on the internet. But my username, Flashshifter, actually comes from a video game called MapleStory. It's a 2D scrolling MMO developed by Wizette and Nexon.
Oh.
It's a game I started playing in 2006. I was in the 6th grade at the time, and I played it on and off over the years. But the name Flashshifter specifically comes from my very favorite class in the game called a Night Lord. And this class, it's like a ninja that throws shuriken and throwing stars. You can think of Naruto, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's There's one skill called Flash Jump, and it lets you jump really far away. And
Oh,
there's another
yes.
passive skill called Shadow Shifter. And when you're hit by a monster, there's like a 50% chance you'll automatically dodge that attack. I combined both of these skill names, Flash Jump and Shadow Shifter, to arrive at the name Flashshifter, and that's where my username originates from.
0 Meters says, Night Lords are the worst class. I'm lost on this reference.
No, they're not. They're really good. They're really fun to play.
You know, I got a feeling of that when I first saw the Avatar picture. I was like, kind of looks like a Studio Ghibli little bouncy guy from Spirited Away. And also the Flash Shifter sounded vaguely Naruto-ish.
Well, that means I did something right, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're nerding up on the same stuff. I mean, I love those. I love Ghibli so much. Ghibli has a lot in common with Stardew, and you see that a lot in Eric's work.
Like the Scarecrow that's from Howl's Moving Castle. How could you miss that? That's honestly my most favorite Scarecrow in the game.
Yeah, me too. I love that film. That's one of my favorites. My username came from my love of elves. And there is a particularly cursed elf called Turin in the Tolkien verse. And I use that name a lot, like yourself in other communities I was involved with in the past. It's funny, they really do. There's a lot of personality in our usernames. And I'm sure everybody has a story behind them.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
let's get to the big obvious question, the intro question, which is, so one day you decide that you're going to take on Stardew Valley, that you are going to add more content to it. You love this game so much, and you make this bold move to make the Stardew Valley Expanded mod. That might not seem like a bold move in the beginning, it was definitely a very big thing. Now, how did that happen? How did you decide that you were going to do that? Create this mod?
Well, to answer that question, we have to go all the way back to the past. Throughout my life, I've really played a wide variety of video games. I've beaten pretty much every Legend of Zelda and Pokemon game. I've Platinum Bloodborne and Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I've played City Skylines, Harvest Moon, Advanced Wars, Mario games. I've even used to play competitive StarCraft 2 and Super Smash Brothers Melee. I've been to several tourneys. I can't say I've ever won any though. But at the end of the day, I'm really a gamer at heart.
Mm-hmm.
But despite how much of my life I've spent playing all these games, none of them impacted me the way Stardew Valley did when I first played it.
Yeah, it is very impactful. It's obviously had a huge effect on me, but I never expected it to.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I first laid my eyes on it, actually. I just recently graduated from Western Washington University with my bachelor's in accounting, and I had moved back home with my family as I was searching for my big job in the city of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I saw my brother playing this really cool looking farming pixel art game on his PlayStation 4. And I asked him something along the lines of hey, what are you playing there? And he said it was a game called Stardew Valley, and that apparently it was all made by one guy.
Wow.
And it left a really good impression on me. And fast forward a week, I was browsing the Nintendo eShop channel on my Nintendo Switch, looking for a new game to play after a long day of job hunting. And I came across Stardew Valley, and I saw the price tag. It was only $15, and it was really cheap.
Yeah.
So I decided to try it out and give it a chance, and very little did I know at the time that it was going to be a decision that would change my life forever.
It's very weird. I mean, I have that in common with you, because I saw a streamer playing it that I was quite fond of, Sips, from the Yogscast, and he had a funny playthrough of it. I watched him play at a very dark time in my life, and then I played Stardew Valley at a very dark time in my life, and they did a lot for me. I very accidentally fell into making content about it. It was never a big decision, but big. I think Stardew Valley has this effect on everybody who plays it. Regardless,
it really does. It really does. I religiously played it pretty much every day. My dad would leave to go to work, only to come back home to find me in the exact same spot on the living room couch. The only difference being it wasn't summer anymore in my farming game, but it was now fall. There'd be mornings where I would literally wake up reaching for my Nintendo Switch on my nightstand, before I'd even opened my eyes, and
Wow.
I'd keep playing until my bladder would force me to get up to use the washroom. I was that addicted, and I loved every single moment of it. I had never experienced something so magical before in my entire life. There's just something about the characters, the gameplay, the music, the artwork, the world design, all the stories. I really just could not get enough of it. And before I knew it, I had completely beaten Stardew Valley on every farm type, but I still wanted more.
So is that what led you to create the additional content? That just the idea of I need more.
Yeah, so I set out to find the more and discovered that there was actually a modding community on Nexus Mods for Stardew Valley. And I believe at the time there were only around 2,500 mods back then. And I literally read through each and every single one of them. I was unbelievably excited knowing I was going to be able to re-experience Stardew Valley again.
Oh,
and I
that's so
installed
nice.
something like, yeah, I installed something like 10% of the total available mods at the time. And I beat the game again. And even after all of that, I still wanted more, but there wasn't any more. That was it. So I set out to create the more, and I taught myself how to mod the game.
I think in our conversations beforehand, you began with the maps, because maps are kind of a big thing for you.
Yeah, I started my modding career by editing maps and adding new areas and things like that. I had never modded a game before, and my only modding experience before that was just downloading and installing mods for Star Wars Battlefront 2. The only skills I came in with to the modding scene that were relative to modding was an itch from map design and graphic art. Like, I've always loved designing maps. I really owe my playtime in City Skylines, SimCity, StarCraft 2, and Advance Wars for that. I probably put well over like 1,000 hours in a map design with those games combined, and I feel like that skill translated pretty well in the realm of making maps in Stardew Valley. And my art skills came from my time as a graphic artist on various Nintendo Wi-Fi forums when I was a teenager. I made like signatures and banners and avatars for a lot of people on forums for fun, because like back in the day with like forums, you know, like your avatar and signature was like a way that, you know, you would express yourself. And I probably made like over 1,000 signatures just for fun using Adobe Photoshop.
So what was the first step? Was it just the imagining what you could do different with the maps? You remember what the first thing you did was?
Yeah, I first started off just editing maps. I actually originally started out editing the railroad map, and that's all it was really supposed to be, because like I just really wanted to edit that map. But I eventually just started having like more and more content creep, because I kept on learning how to do more and more things, and I just kept on wanting to add to what I was building.
So at what point did you begin to form a team when you knew that this thing was going to get a whole lot bigger than you ever imagined?
Well, I started making the mod by myself, and eventually throughout its development, I was contacted by some people as my mod was getting bigger. And I didn't really have an imagination that I would have a team with the project, but I ended up getting one, and these people like ended up being my best friends.
Could you tell us a little bit about them, your collaborators?
Yeah. So Stardew Valley Expanded does have a small team behind it, specifically 4 other people, and they really are my best friends in the modding community. And what they make in my mod is very specific. These 4 people are Poltergeister. She also goes by Sugar Wizard. There's Eska, Keychain, and Golix Chats. Poltergeister is honestly one of the most talented portrait artists I've ever met in my life, and she sprites the portrait art and overworld sprites.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, she just has such an incredible way of making a real person in a 64 by 64 pixel canvas space.
It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it's like it's really a skill I hope to learn someday. But usually we work together by me pitching an idea for a character to her, and she'll work with the information I gave her.
I have a nice comment for you here from Arif Zaki, obviously a Final Fantasy VII fan there. For me, you gave the game the magic of picking up a game for the second time and experiencing it for the first time.
Thank you. Yeah, that was like the reason why I made the mod, because it's what I wanted. I wanted to experience the game again. And so I set out to create that experience. And fast forward about 3 years later, here we are today in a huge expanded world for one of my most favorite games of all time.
It is excellent. I'm really impressed with how you've managed to connect the mod to the game, and it does feel very seamless, and it does feel very much like vanilla. It's quite an achievement. And I think
Thanks. I really make an effort to make the mod as vanilla as I possibly can, and I always take like all forms of feedback to improve the mod. And it was especially kind of rough, like in the first 6 months when the mod was first released, because like it was my first time modding, and I had barely any experience in anything, and I just kept trying to apply myself and kept getting better.
Like, I am very much a vanillarist, and I've never been super into modding, but I've been, like, given my time with the channel, I've been changed into really enjoying Stardew Valley Expanded. It became a legitimate interest for me, and I'm really happy that there is this big experience people can have when they come back to Stardew Valley. I think it's very important to tell people about it. It's just like, yeah, you think you've done everything, but really, this does feel like an honest expansion in many ways.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Who would the other collaborators? We talked about Poltergeist.
Oh, yes. So, yes, Poltergeister is the portrait artist, and there's Eska. He's a very skilled programmer, and he's responsible for writing the C# SMAPI components for Stardew Valley Expanded. Now, about like 99% of the mod is coded by me in JSON. There are some hard-coded elements, though, and other things that are out of my skill set to add or change, because it requires actual programming knowledge. And that's where Eska steps in with his expertise. Some of you may know him as the guy that made the farm type manager framework. It's a very impressive mod, and it just gives my mod so many tools and utilities to add really cool gameplay experiences, and a lot of other mods also use it.
Cool. Were there two more people?
Yeah. The third person is Keychain. She's also a very talented artist. She actually has a Twitter, and I do follow her. She has sprited numerous small objects for Stardew Valley Expanded, including the vast majority of the new fish sprites. She tweeted a while ago showing everything she's made for the mod, and I know like the butterfish and puppyfish are fairly popular in the community. Like she's responsible for making those. She's also incredible in the way that she will check over my pixel artwork as well. It's just nice to pass it by someone else for like another look. Like sometimes she'll add more detail to what I sprited or suggest I change something. Sometimes she'll say something along the lines of like, yeah, this is crap. And I'll go, all right, well, let's try this again. And like that just happened recently in the recent Secret Woods update. I added a bunch of new objects that I sprited, but I could not for the life of me get the shape of the conch right. And she stepped in and corrected it, and it looks incredible. Like she just really has a way with working with pixel art, and I appreciate everything that she does. And there's one more person, Golix Chats. She helps me with copy editing, dialogue, and has written several events for the mod. She's also someone I follow on Twitter. Now, I've written pretty much all the dialogue and everything for Stardew Valley Expanded, and I made all the stories myself, but dang, there were a lot of grammar issues back in the day, and she came in and she helped out with all of that.
Oh, that is so helpful.
It really is. Like, I'm pretty sure Concerned Avian has people that do that for him too. Like, you have to. But she's been on hiatus for a little while now, so I've been writing and proofreading everything myself, and that's okay. Like, when it comes to my team, this is really an environment where anyone can come and go as they please. And if they ever want to come back to help out with something, there's always going to be that spot for them. They are the only 4 people in the world I will ever allow to directly add or change content in my mod, because I trust them. And this trust has really been built over the course of years. I like keeping my team small and close-knit.
Oh god, we have had there's been a couple of very funny questions. I've been literally holding my laughter back outside of the microphone. First of all, somebody wanted to know your thoughts on something. I'm actually not going to say that one. I'll tell you that one later. We can laugh about that one.
All right.
But then somebody just said, "Do you like the Obi-Wan spin-off?" I'm just like, we just had this conversation before stream.
Gosh.
I don't know if I don't know if we want to get into that.
Obi-Wan was okay. I feel like it broke canon too much though, and there were too many plot holes that distracted from my enjoyment of it. It was good though, but I really expected a lot more from that series.
Me too. Yeah.
Don't get me ranting on Star Wars.
Oh, me too. I'm terrible.
Never hear the end of it. There are so many things that they need to fix and do.
I'm terrible for my opinions on Star Wars as well. So that's all your co-creators, and we've got the gist of how the mod started. I guess we can get up on our pixel feet and begin to walk around.
Feet, yeah. One more person I do want to mention though, in terms of like team, I really consider Pathos Child a huge help with my mod as well.
Yeah.
Because I code everything in JSON using Content Patcher, and that's a framework developed by Pathos Child, who's really the grandfather of modding Stardew Valley. And without his frameworks, a lot of content that we love and enjoy today would not exist.
Sophia has decided to come over and inspect the chair that Hamish just sat in. That's not weird at all.
It's a warm seat. It's a warm seat.
Oh God, Sophia, she's simping. It is nice that we've got essentially two of your most popular characters here.
Yeah, I know.
Lance has gone to bed for some reason.
Definitely a popular character. A lot of people enjoy her.
She has become very synonymous with the mod. I don't think you can think of Stardew Valley Expanded without. Did you know that was going to happen with Sophia? I guess she's a good place to start with character development. I don't think she was your first character that you designed, was she?
No, she wasn't. Why don't we walk around and explain to you about like my initial vision of the mod and
where should we
how
go?
Things kickstart from there. We can. How about we walk around? Well, we're going to talk about Sophia. Let's go to her vineyard. Let's walk through Forest. So, about like the new NPCs and farmers in general, my mod originally was only supposed to have 5 new NPCs, and they were 3 new farmers and a rich family. And that whole idea was actually inspired by Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life on the Nintendo GameCube. It's one of my favorite Harvest Moon entries. And in that game, there were other farmers in the valley. And there was a grandma who like lived with her granddaughter in a huge mansion on a big hill. And I just felt like it introduced such a nice and cool.
Are you getting a cutscene?
Dynamic. Yeah, I did. I got a garden cutscene.
Yeah.
This is where you like unlock iridium sprinklers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought like adding new farmers and a rich family would introduce a really nice dynamic. Because to me, it honestly never made much sense that Pierre only sold seeds to the player, and I think maybe like Evelyn for her gardens.
Yeah.
But now he sells seeds to other NPCs too, like Marnie and Susan, and I feel like it just adds a more cohesive dynamic to the valley as a whole.
Hamish has Jojified Sophia's Sophia's property. That was his.
Yeah, her property actually used to be a lot bigger than this. About a year ago or so, I actually expanded this map and completely redesigned it, and that's something I like doing with a lot of my work. I will always go back and try to improve something that I've made before, because like when you first make things, you think, oh wow, this looks great, it's finished, but I feel like it's never really finished because I always have like this urge to go back and to improve it.
You got another cutscene.
Yeah, I'm getting all the cutscenes.
We did think of that.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, Hamish is. It was I think it was a very good idea to introduce the idea of more farmers. Because you're right, there is a distinct absence. It's like you can't make a business off selling seeds to one person. I don't even know if you could make a business off that, really. So it makes. Who was actually the first character that you inserted? Was it the Jenkins? Was it them?
Well, I'm staring at their house right now, and their house used to not look like this. It actually looked pretty bad when I first made it. But Victor and his mother, Olivia, were the very first NPCs that my mod introduced, and that was followed by Andy, then Susan, and then Sophia.
I see. We've got a request from chat for a storyline where we can poison Pierre. very
That
random.
doesn't sound very vanilla to me, so that'll never happen. Thankfully, the Stardew Valley modding community is quite large, and I'm pretty sure you'll find a mod out there somewhere that will satisfy you.
What about rival heart events? Any plans for that?
I'm not so sure about rival heart events. I don't feel like it's necessary for everyone in the game to get with each other and things like that. Like, I feel like that's also one of the reasons why Considering Knife didn't add it, because I don't really want like a situation where everyone in the valley is happy and they're with their loved ones and things like that. Like, that's what makes Stardew Valley so interesting and really awesome, in that these are real people with conflicts and struggles. And I feel like it's important to maintain that. There are definitely other mods though that do add rival heart events if you want to add that kind of content in your game.
Shall we go in? You coming in?
I don't have a key and it's 6 a.m.
Oh God, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Hang on, just move the time up. There we go, 10 a.m.
Oh, sweet. All right, now I can enter.
Yes, totally didn't think of that.
Yeah, they have a pretty big house. Definitely want to like give players that rich feel. Like, these people are so freaking rich that they have their own bathroom, complete with
I love the
toilet
bathroom.
that has a flush button instead of a handle.
I remember when there was a bath before.
Yeah, that was a long time
just
ago.
so chat knows, I saw somebody asking. You can use super chat. It will pop up on the screen, and it will probably make it a lot easier to pick your question out. But we will endeavor to get everybody's questions anyway. They are silent, so my usual noisy alerts will not interrupt our interview. So don't worry about that. So, did you say you started with the Jenkins, or?
Yeah, I started with the Jenkins. They were the first NPCs that I introduced into my mod.
And that was directly inspired by Harvest Moon, the addition of some
Yeah.
rich folk.
Yeah, I just like that in Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, that they had a rich family, and I kind of wanted that too in Stardew Valley.
It is an interesting dynamic to put people with like a different experience of wealth in the game, because everyone apart from Pam is a bit vague.
Yeah.
Pam in her trailer is a very obvious story there. So where did Andy come into the mix? I like the inclusion of Andy. Oh, Penny's in a bush for some reason.
Trust that.
Maybe that's a bush spawning thing. Maybe I can just chop the bush down. I cannot.
That's a building bush, so you can't chop that down. I know what's going on with your schedule. I'll fix that in the next update. Some of my most famous words. Fix in the next update. Fix in the next update. That's coming in the next update.
So I think Andy is a great character because he's not, he's rough around the edges. He's not perfect.
Yeah, I definitely want to add, when it came to the 3 farmer NPCs, I wanted to introduce like a certain dynamic with them. I wanted a rural farmer. I wanted a farmer that had a vineyard, and I wanted to add a farmer that had a humble farm by the railroad.
Yeah, Susan's an interesting character just for the fact alone that she exists in such a difficult spot.
Yeah, I felt like it was important to add like at least one NPC that doesn't really have many struggles or conflicts. They're just,
Happy.
working on by, and they're happy, and that's okay. This is Andy's farm. He likes to make strawberries. Like, his farm kind of specializes in jam.
Yeah.
Susan's farm specializes in like juice and beer and pale ales, and Sophia's farm specializes in wine production. So like when it came to the different farmers in the game, I really wanted them to specialize in different categories.
Yeah.
And there's even a little farm down here. It's actually the Hat Mouse.
Yeah.
But in Stardew Valley Expanded, there's actually like a little bit of a story behind this one, and this farm used to specialize in bees and flowers, and they used to make honey.
Ah, yes, they went under, didn't they?
Yeah.
Andy reveals the backstory for that, I believe.
Yeah, there's lots of backstory to all the Stardew Valley Expanded cast. I really try to add, storylines to everything and have there be purpose.
A question I was going to ask, which has also popped up in chat from Jared Curry, is, do you have a favorite character?
Do I have a favorite?
Could be vanilla as well. I mean, you could talk about your own and vanilla, is what they were asking.
Well, I do like Abigail. I married her during my first playthrough. I just thought that she was such a cool character. I don't want to compete with Keychain though, because Keychain loves Abigail more than anyone, I think, in the whole world. Well, I can't really say that I have a favorite in particular though. Honestly, I really love all the expanded characters. I feel like each of them really introduces a new dynamic to the game with their own stories and hard events and interactions. Most of these characters are actually based off of real people in my life. And I've seen over the years that they really have resonated with players.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of how Concerned Abe made his characters too. And I feel like that's what makes them so memorable to all of us.
Oh god, like, I can relate to not having a favorite out of my own characters, but my characters do not come from real people. There's nobody that weird in my life. I think I take aspects of my personality. I mean, have you implanted any of your own personality into the characters?
I have. I am not going to say who though.
No.
I mean, it's pretty natural to do that. I feel like you know yourself better than anyone else, and I feel like it's just natural to do that. But it's not like a cookie cutter copy paste of who I am, though.
Did you get another cutscene?
Oh, I'm walking off to the right.
Oh, are you?
The Western South Forest.
Oh, I literally did not see you leave. For some reason. Hang on, wait for me. I'll run as fast as the wind.
Yeah, I always thought that Sinnerseth Forest should have been a lot larger. I
Yes.
feel like in vanilla, Sinnerseth Forest wasn't really much of a forest at all. It had like 25 trees in it.
Yes, it becomes a problem as well.
Yeah.
In terms of resources.
Yeah, I just want to give players that gameplay experience where if you want to just keep walking in a forest and get lost, be my guest, I suppose. It's so funny because I've actually seen a lot of players on Twitch streams explore the Western Sinnerseth Forest for the first time, and it's 12 a.m. and I'm like, that's not a good idea. You're not gonna have enough time to get back home. And then they pass out, and I'm like, well, what did you expect? You wandered into a huge forest at nighttime and you got lost, so you kind of played yourself there.
Let's go and see Claire, because I'd love to chat about Claire. Because Claire has become my favorite of your characters.
Yeah. She's not working today. Martin has the Joja Mart cashier.
Oh, we could go and
today,
see Martin.
So, yeah, sure. Why don't we go do that?
Yeah.
Martin was actually mostly created as a support character for Claire. He actually originally wasn't really supposed to have any hard events or much dialogue at all, because for Claire to exist as an actual NPC, I can't have someone working Joja Mart 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
She is
right?
here.
Oh, she is.
Hello, Claire.
Why is she sleeping though?
There's a family of blue jays nesting in a tree near Joja Mart. I hear them twittering away through the window sometimes. She looks great. I love her portrait design.
Yeah,
Birds
Wizard did a really great job with that.
I just like her as a character because, for me, she's refreshing in the sense that she's mature, worldly. She's seen the world, and her ambitions were really interesting as well.
Yeah, I try to add unique storyline to everyone. I'm wondering why she had her sleeping frame though. I think you may have another mod install that's causing something.
She had sleeping? She looked alright to me.
Yeah.
She was just in a
uniform. That's
uniform.
on my end then.
Yeah, she was just in a uniform.
I think that's probably because we skipped time. Yeah, multiplayer Stardew can get very weird.
Yeah.
If you start messing with the time and you start fast forwarding and stuff like that.
Somebody in chat, Callie, thought that Martin was the kid of the Aurora farm people for some reason. I guess that's their own personal theory.
Yeah, players come up with theories about characters a lot, and it's really cool that people do that. And that's why I try to, when I'm answering these questions, I don't want to give a yes or no answer, because it's really fun to see players come up with their own theories and ideas behind people.
Yes, I remember in our conversations you were talking about how you're a fan of the world building design where a lot is left to the imagination.
Yeah, like Stardew Valley Expanded expands the game a lot, but I also try to leave a lot of room for players to come up with their own theories and stuff.
Yeah, that
All the cutscenes.
I think that refers to a question we have from one of our mods that was written before the stream, which was asking about, and a few questions on stream have asked about this as well. People wanting to know if there are any more plans for Grampiton Fields and what's going on with the wizard that lives there. That's come up quite a few times now.
Yeah, so Grambleton Fields is a add-on sandbox map, and it's very big. It's like something like 200 tiles wide. It's a very large map, and it's meant as a sandbox map. I don't think I'll add more story to it because it's just there mostly for players who have run out of room on their farms and they want more space. And it's also very handy for players who are playing in multiplayer sessions and they've run out of room and they want more space. And the wizard that's there is mostly there because of the warp point, because Grambleton Fields has a lot of shortcuts to it, and I wanted a warp point somewhere in the middle of the map that players can shortcut to, but it didn't really make much sense to just have a warp pad there. So I kind of just made up a random character name and added a warp point to the wizard's basement, which I guess we can go walk to next, actually.
Yeah, sure. This is one of the new sprites here, isn't it?
Yeah, in the latest update, I added some new flowers. These are thistles, and if you combine a lot of the new flowers, you can make something called a flower cookie, and it's very delicious.
Oh, yeah. I've yet to make that. That did look very nice.
Yeah, you can, like, sit up here.
I am a big fan of this summit. I feel like the vanilla summit is very bleak compared to this.
It's very unique and very rocky. I always kind of imagined the summit would be more grassy, so...
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the SV summit. I love the way the clouds move up there. Interesting question here from Erissa Arts. Do all of your characters have surnames, or is it just the Jenkins?
It's mostly just the Jenkins that has a surname.
I know Claire
and that's because multiple people live in that house.
I know Claire's, was it Whiteley? Yeah.
I think Claire and Olivia and Victor are the only ones.
I wonder what Sophia's surname would be. Maybe.
Well, I'll leave that up to your imagination.
Yeah. Figure it out, guys. What do you think Sophia's surname is? And also, what is Andy's surname? Who else? Sort of question about 2.0 of like wanting to have more characters. We'll get to that, but I imagine there's going to be quite a lot of characters.
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking about 2.0 at some point during the live interview.
Yeah.
I promise. Another detail I like that I added, Marnie has a lot more livestock in her property, and there's like lots of grass. I didn't really like in vanilla that it was like a barren dirt field.
Yeah.
It kind of felt lifeless to me, so that's like another hallmark change that Stardew Valley Expanded adds. And the fact that Marnie is kind of a farmer herself now too, but she's not like anywhere near being a farmer compared to like even Andy, who has like a lower tier farm compared to Susan and Sophia. The wizard's this way, that's right.
So when it comes to creating a character, what is that process like? Like in terms of Claire, I believe you had a ridiculous amount of hours that went into Claire. Was she particularly difficult because she was kind of already in the game, or?
I kind of consider Claire to be a vanilla character because she's actually in the base game. Sorry, what was your question again?
Could you tell us a bit about that process involved in creating a character? 'Cause I've heard it's very lengthy.
Yeah. So, generally when it comes to me making a character, I think about my mod a lot, and I tend to dream about it quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
And I come up with like ideas all the time, and I just want to see those dreams become reality. I'm very passionate about my work, and I just love adding content to a game that genuinely impacted me in the most touching way possible. I guess like really, having full creative control on it and making content because I trust myself to get it done. And I guess I can't really say that there really is much of a process. I just trust myself and I just work on stuff that I want to create and add.
Is there anything that, this question's from Chris Hedgeguard. Where do you get your inspiration for the music from that you've added into Stardew Valley Expanded?
Well, I develop all the music myself using FL Studio as my DAW, and I actually specifically went with FL Studio because that's what Toby Fox uses to make the Undertale soundtracks. And my inspiration comes from, video game music and, Stardew Valley music. I don't really have a process when it comes to me developing music. I just come up with rhythms and melodies and I just make that work. I do have a bit of a music background. My mom got a 1800s upright piano in the house when I was like 13 or 14 years old. I forget where it came from, but I think we got it for free. And we just kind of we had a piano in the house and I would dabble on it. And I just keep on dabbling on it. And eventually I really want to play a song on it. So the very first song I taught myself how to play on the piano was Dire Dire Docks from Super Mario 64.
Oh, wow.
I just love that song so much. And I would teach myself how to play a lot of other, video game songs like Fairy Fountain from Legend of Zelda and other things like that. And eventually those skills really translated well into me making my own music that are, in my mod now. And I will continue to keep making new soundtracks. Like I've actually already have 3 soundtracks for Castle Village coming in 2.0. I haven't revealed those yet though.
It does seem to be an important part of childhood. A lot of what creatively influences us as children tends to carry over if we continue to be creators. Like, for example, me and Chib always did funny voices throughout our entire lives while watching cartoons and things like that, and then we just stumbled into using it in a practical form for the channel. So it's nice to see that your creative child has like survived and accomplished so much.
Yeah,
because the music is great. It really is great.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The very first soundtrack I made for Stardew Valley Expanded is Crimson Sands, and that's the soundtrack that plays in the Crimson Badlands. Lots of war drums.
Yes, I do love that one.
It's a very intense theme, and it's a very intense theme because I want to when it comes to music, I feel like you need to convey the undertone of an area or a cutscene to the player, and usually I try to use vanilla tracks as much as possible, but when it comes to me adding content to Stardew Valley Expanded, there's just some themes that are missing, and then I have to make that song so it fits the tone that I'm trying to add.
Very relevant question for the room that we're in from Nova Stellum. Will we get to see the Ministry of Magic? Because there is a portal for it.
Well, I think if you made it to in-game in Stardew Valley Expanded, there's 4 warps here that are usable.
Yep.
And there's 2 left that you cannot use. This one and this one. Perhaps someday you'll be able to go to these places. This place sounds pretty cool. 2 Castle Village Guild Hall.
Yes.
That place sounds awesome. Yeah, maybe someday.
Yep.
Because if you guys remember, when I first designed this basement for the wizard, only 1 warp was usable. And it was this one. And this goes to the Witch Swamp.
Do you want to go to the first Slash Guild Hall? I really love that place.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Assuming you can do it. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, some of your conch shells are here now. Gale. I'm working on a new magic sword. I want it to be fast and agile. I like there's a little bit of a dynamic going on between this guy and one of the other adventurers here. I think they have a relationship.
Yeah. There will definitely be more like non-social NPCs like this in Castle Village. There'll actually be quite a few non-social NPCs because I want to make Castle Village seem kind of big, but I want non-social NPCs to be easily identifiable as like a generic character. So there'll be like lots of adventurers and students and opportunists there that will exist, and they'll fill out the city. But you'll be able to tell them apart from actual NPCs you can have dialogues with.
Do you
And,
have
they have friendship gauges.
Do you have any favorite cutscenes that you've created, or particularly tricky ones that you've created? Tricky
Yeah, I
or
definitely
favorite?
do. Some of my favorite cutscenes are Olivia's 14 Heart, the Wizard's 14 Heart, and Sophia's 14 Heart. I spent probably like a collective 2 months developing just those 3 cutscenes. And Sophia's 14 Heart in particular is my most favorite since it really revolves around one of my favorite hobbies. I don't want to spoil too much about what these cutscenes do or go into, but Sophia's 14 Heart is my favorite.
Yeah, that was a huge one. Thanks for putting Hamish in that. The eagle-eyed people.
It's kind of funny putting your character that you have right here as a cameo. It's such a small little thing, but yeah, you're in there.
I didn't even see it at first. And it wasn't until we were actually recording for it that I was like, oh, hang on. Because I saw the 2 Joja people in the food court, but I didn't realize Hamish was there. It's a nice Easter egg for people who watch the channel. Jolene is a cool character.
Yeah, she'll get some more events, and I think in the next update I might be adding a new quest line for players to pursue. And this door here on the left, you ever wonder what's in there? Well, maybe I'll add something soon.
Nice.
Because this door on the right, it is interactable, and it's actually just like a bunch of rooms. But in one of these rooms, players can sleep here if they want. And if you're married to Lance, you can sleep here with him 1 day out of the week, and you can actually wake up with him here the next day.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah, just like little details.
You can also see his 6-pack in there.
Yeah, I've heard I've got a lot of interesting reactions from that. It's so funny because that line of dialogue in his 10 heart event was actually like a placeholder text. It was actually placeholder text because that's how I go about writing a lot of dialogue for cutscenes in general. Is like I just have placeholders on like general ideas of what I want this window box to like the point to get across, and I actually decided to leave that in.
I love it.
I think that was a good decision because it's kind of funny.
It's funny.
And
Yeah.
Stardew Valley in general is kind of a quirky game, and I feel like that kind of matches the tone very well.
A question here from Hell Bergen is: are you planning to add more weapons to the game?
Yes, yeah. Stardew Valley Expanded 2.0 will add more weapons, and it'll even add magic and artifacts, weapons in the form of artifacts that players can use to cast spells and enchantments with, and things like that. Like the combat system will be overhauled a bit in 2.0. I feel like it kind of has to, because like Stardew Valley combat is a little mishmash and things like that. And you see what Concerned Ape's doing with Haunted Chocolatier and how he's making basically like an action RPG. And 2.0 will try to attain that as well. And I feel like with Eska's help, with his expertise in programming, that can totally become a reality.
A lot of people in the chat excited to see Castle Village. A lot of hype for that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Castle Village too. I know it's something I've been talking a lot about for, I think, years at this point. But I keep on getting distracted by wanting to add more content to the base game. But I've made progress. I've made quite a bit of progress on the city and the dynamics and things like that. And there's actually...
Should we go over to the Badlands?
Yeah. We're going to talk about Castle Village. Why don't we go to the Badlands? I'll debug warp there.
Yeah, I will meet you there as I have the hub up and running. We had a members question pop up from Lovely Phoenix, which is: was Lance always going to be dateable?
No. He actually started out not dateable, and he actually started out as a non-social NPC. He was just like a dude that you would run into at the caldera in the volcano dungeon.
Are you able to come to the outpost?
Yeah, I
Camilla
just
is here.
debug warp to the Badlands itself, so let me walk over there now.
Camilla is here, a very popular community character.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Camilla is a very popular character, which is so funny because she's not even a social NPC. And I know players really want to romance her and they want more of her story, and that will come. But in order for me to develop Camilla, a lot of other content has to exist for her to exist.
Mr. Ramsey B wanted to know who and what inspired Sophia, but I think we covered that a little bit. It was people. A lot of these characters are based off people you know. I don't think you probably don't want to go any deeper than that and name names or anything, I imagine.
Yeah, I can't go too much into that, sorry.
Oh, is that a car alarm on your end?
I think that was on your end. I didn't hear any cars on my end. Let me go up here.
That's weird. Where the hell's that coming from? Hang on.
Do you live in
Oh, it's
Zuzu City by any chance?
It's gone now. That weirded me out because that sounded like it was coming through my headphones for a second there, but no, it was on my end. Apologies for that. Yeah, Camilla is she's very sassy. She's very mysterious. She definitely seems very attractive. Kind of the same process with Lansen, I guess. You brought them into the game, and then people have become fascinated with them.
Yeah, most characters that are introduced in the game usually start out like just not being a real NPC, and people end up really wanting to explore them, and that kind of motivates me to develop them more. Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to developing her more in other characters. Like, and same thing can be said with Stardew Valley Expanded 1.0. Like on day one, when I released my mod, there were no new NPCs in Stardew Valley Expanded 1.0. It was just like 35 character events, reimagined vanilla areas, and like 3 new areas, and that's it. And at the time, I was actually quite satisfied with my mod. I thought it was pretty much done, but I would, keep adding. I'd keep adding to it, and I kept improving it.
Andrew Pedersen, very straightforward question. Camilla for waifu when?
In the future, I can't really give too much of a roadmap. I don't really like making deadlines for myself, so there really isn't much of a roadmap anyway, besides ideas that I have in my head.
Yeah.
And what I've documented so far in Notepad on my desktop computer. I use Notepad a bit too much.
She's confirmed for waifu, but to be confirmed when?
She'll be an NPC that's sociable, and she'll be a marriage candidate on day one when Stardew Valley Expanded 2.0 drops, whenever that is.
Yeah, there you have it. 2.0 is when Camilla becomes available. Did you want to say anything more about what Camilla might be in the future, or should we just leave that for now?
We'll leave that for now. I have a lot of ideas for a character, but I feel like I don't want to spoil too much for you guys, because I feel like a lot of that magical feeling has to be experienced when you first play it.
Yeah.
Like imagine playing Stardew Valley for the first time, or my mod for the first time, and what you felt playing it. Everything was fresh and new, and I don't want to spoil that for anyone, so I'll leave it at that.
Will there be any opportunity to befriend Isaac and Alesia?
Yes,
Julia
they
R.
will be
thinks
marriage
they're
candidates.
great.
Yep, they will be marriage candidates in 2.0. I've heard enough of people requesting them.
I'm quite
get,
interested in Alesia.
I get like a direct message pretty much every week asking people marriage candidate when. I'm like, I know it's coming.
This is a good topic to get to. What has it been like? I mean, small beginnings. You start this idea on your own. You gradually find a nice crew of people to help you work on it that you trust. And now you have this big audience. What is the contrast like with that? What's that like trying to handle that these days?
Yeah. So like honestly, just like speaking, I'm really humbled by everything. Really, like there's a lot of people that play my mod on Twitch and YouTube and other platforms, and it's just incredible seeing them play something that I created, and I get to interact with their audience, and I actually gain a lot of feedback by jumping into like live Twitch chats and talking to people to improve Stardew Valley Expanded. When I first created the mod, I really never expected it to blow up as much as it did. Like I honestly just wanted to add some new areas and some fake houses to fill out the valley, and that's it. And we fast forward 3 years into the future, like Stardew Valley Expanded draws in over 1,000 new players each and every single day.
Wow.
And I've even been able to move on to working on Stardew Valley Expanded full time, thanks to all of my fans' generous support, which I'm very grateful for. I really am. Like I get to wake up each day and I get to choose what I want to work on. Like maybe today I'll code and fix bugs, or maybe today I'll draw some pixel art, or perhaps I'll storyboard, maybe make a new song, or maybe I won't do any of that and play Elden Ring all day long.
It is nice
Like,
to take a break sometimes. I feel like some of
it
your
is.
better ideas can come when you... Like, I briefly talked about it before. I said I like playing other games, and then I come back to Stardew and I get a refresh perspective, and I can see all of the cuteness in the sprites, and so much... And vice versa. If I go and play a different type of game and I've played a lot of Stardew, I can see the quality in that better. I don't know if there's
Thank
a
you.
word for that, but... Let's see if there's any... Are there any plans for Krobus and Dwarf? Well, I know there's quite a lot of Krobus content already.
Yeah, I actually recently added an in-game quest line for Krobus. You have to get him to 10 hearts, though. And there's a whole quest line with them. And I'm not going to spoil it too much, but they have a bit of content. And if you romance Lance and you marry him, there's actually even additional Krobus content that, players can discover.
Ah, yes. That is currently in the game. If you haven't seen that already, there is quite a bit of Krobus content for you.
There already is like a bit of content with Krobus and their relationship with Marlon, as like I'm pretty sure a lot of players know. Like Stardew Valley Expanded changes the way you get the sewer key, because in vanilla, Gunther just like kind of randomly gives you this ugly old key, and I'm like, wow, thanks dude for the
Gunther.
key. I guess you're welcome for like the 60 artifacts I donated. That's fine. And he doesn't even like know about anything in the sewer, so I'm like, why would you just randomly give someone a sewer key? I mean, I'm happy that there's like a shadow guy down there that is like that sells me like a return scepter, but
that is fairly
always,
random.
like a little odd. But so in my mod, I changed the story behind that quite a bit. At the same time, I also changed the museum reward that players get when they do donate 60 artifacts, and that they get a little bit of a cash payout. And Gunther is unlocked as a social NPC, and I feel like that's just like really cool dynamic to have in general, because I always wanted to explore Gunther as a character, and I will be making more heart events for him in the future. I think currently he's up to 6 hearts in terms of events. He doesn't have an 8 or a 10, but I will add at least a couple more, maybe a quest line with him that deals with artifact hunting in the future. And speaking of expanded vanilla characters, I just really also liked expanding Marlon and Morris as characters, and especially Morris, because it's kind of funny because like me expanding Morris was actually a bit inspired by you, because you're a Joja route player.
Yeah.
And discovering your content, I was like, wow, this guy.
I was wondering about that.
He loves Joja.
Yeah.
And
well, Hamish
kind of made
does.
me realize, like, yeah. And it just made me realize, like, there's a lot of players that want to experience more Joja content. So I set out to create like an actual new storyline and option for players who want to pursue the Joja route.
Hamish is the cause of this.
It really dynamically changes everything in the valley if you allow Morris to take over everything. It changes.
Oh, it definitely does. Really. Yeah, I would advise that if you really want a fresh perspective, don't be afraid to try the Joja route in Stardew Valley Expanded at least once, because a lot of the storytelling involved with Morris is fascinating.
Yeah,
there's a lot of rewards. I think we can actually we'll visit one of those buildings a bit later on. We could do that now. Do you want to go there now, or?
Sure.
So we're going to the Joja Emporium, which I think, like, at first I was like, is it too spoilery? But then I was like, most people probably will not see this.
I'm gonna cheat and debug warp there.
All right.
I know all the coordinates. After all, I designed all these maps myself, so.
I'm stuck behind a tree. Luckily, I have no clip. The Joja Emporium. Now, I love this place. It reminds me of a Pokemart. And this is your reward that you could eventually get to with the Joja, and it actually gives you these wonderful crops.
Yeah, the Joja Berry keychain sprited those 2 new Joja crops, by the way. She did a wonderful job. These 2 crops are, without a doubt, the most overpowered crops in the game, and it is basically the player's reward for selling out.
Yeah.
And going full Joja. Like, here's the most overpowered crop in the game. It really allows players to have a Joja farm if they want to pursue that.
I recommend trying these out, folks. Like, the Joja berries are particularly fun to watch grow as well, because they, like, literally form into the J fruit that you see by here.
Yeah.
And the green veggies are actually really great as, like, combat food as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do combat as a Joja farmer. I like the curiosity, like the fact that you can literally just complete the museum with money. That feels very Joja-y.
Yeah, it begs the question, where's Joja getting all these artifacts from?
Where
How are they obtaining these? Mm-hmm.
Will this hatch into a baby dino? More than likely. Guy's looking for a gift for his girlfriend there. On the 10th and 24th, you can actually see Hamish up there. We might see that at some point on the stream.
Yeah, Morris's house.
Should we go look at Morris's house?
In Stardew Valley Expanded, if you complete a lot of things, Morris actually moves to the valley, and he has a house. And when it came to my vision as Morris as a character, I always thought he would have a townhouse.
I love
very
this
modern
house.
and Joja looking, so
it's
I
great.
went off to make it. It even has like serial numbers on it. He has like the Joja logo on it. It looks very, very urban.
Morris Todd. I like that name. And we got the super.
Morris Todd is actually his internal name, because Morris already exists in vanilla as a NPC, and there were some conflicts, so I had to change his internal namespace. Same thing with Marlon, so they wouldn't conflict too much.
So you get Super Joja Cola, which I have in the inventory.
Yeah,
right
if
here.
you ever have a bunch of Joja CDs, you can interact with this Joja machine in his townhouse, and it gives you the Super Joja Cola item.
I love it. That's a really good inclusion.
And it's just meant as a way for players to get an easy speed buff, because I know, like, when it comes to late game, players really just want to get from X to Y to Z. They just want to go fast. They want to get to the location that they're trying to get to. So when it comes to like the Enchanted Grove area and in-game items, I try to supplement lots of speed buffs for players to consume so they can walk faster.
And outrun Apophis.
Yeah, when it comes to the Crimson Badlands, it's really important to have speed buffs. It's honestly hilarious how many live streams I've seen of players in the Crimson Badlands, and they don't have any speed buffs. They don't have any armor or attack buffs. And they're like trying to heal themselves with like salads and berries. And I'm like, you're going to get yourself killed if you can't cheap out when it comes to doing combat in that area. It is the in-game area when it comes to combat in Stardew Valley Expanded. It is a very difficult and scary place. And you really need to bring your best gear, your best buffs. And you got to be careful out there.
Should we go there and smack monsters around?
Yeah, we went to the outpost. Why don't we go there and
go to the
try
proper,
to find
yeah.
Apophis?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, like, I love combat games, so I was up for it. I spent quite a bit of time getting used to the mechanics of the Badlands. I halted on making a video about a guide to surviving it until 2.0 because I know it's good. Yeah, there could be changes.
Yeah, the Crimson Badlands, the map design is going to be completely different, actually, in 2.0. Everything here is going to be different. The Crimson Badlands really wasn't supposed to get as developed as it is today. It was honestly just like the whole idea behind the Crimson Badlands was actually from a dream that I had, and I just wanted to see that dream become reality, so I went out to create it. Because like for me personally, I just wanted a really big desert map where it's just you're just constantly in combat the entire time, and if you play your wits right and your cards right, you can make some decent coin here actually.
It's really fun to do because like when I was, researching making a video, yeah, there was a lot of money to be made. It was a fun thing to do. I think it's gonna be even better when it's fully tied to Castle Village in the future.
Yeah, totally. Like someday you'll be able to go through that front gate. Like there still will be a front gate to Castle Village, but it'll work a little differently. Yeah, this map is pretty big. Eska helped out with the coding behind the sandstorm effects. I had to plot all the coordinates myself, and it took me forever, but the sandstorm effects actually come from the wizard's cauldron in his tower. Like the green smoke?
Yeah.
It actually uses the same code that makes that effect, but it's just altered, and I use a different sprite. And instead of having it like go up a little bit as it dissipates, I up the velocity and speed, and I change the angle and rotation.
Wow.
So it looks like a sandstorm that you're in.
It is a great effect. I had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah, 2.0 will definitely feature a lot of cool magical areas that are very different from vanilla.
Someone's asking if the Iridian Quarry is going to be updated. Sounds like it will be.
Yeah, it will, and there will be more than just Iridium. 2.0 is going to add new resources players can get. What are those resources being platinum? And maybe some other magical... Something else that's like a magical resource, like think of like Marvel movies with like vibranium.
Yeah.
Completely made up, but it's like the strongest material on the planet, and it allows like Wakanda to exist, and it's like really integral to all their technology. There will be something like that in 2.0, but it's integral to their magic and things like that.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's a good idea, because that means you've got something to grind towards, building new weapons and whatnot. Weapon building a part of the future of the...
Yeah, there'll be like Castle Village's version of like the Forge, and you can create new gear, things like that, and maybe have an emphasis on protective gear. Because I really like how in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the fire dungeon, you will burn up and die if you do not have a fire tunic on. And there will be some areas in 2.0 that will act just like that, where you need to be wearing specific gear to be in certain areas. One area I want to work on is, I think I'm going to call it the Void Zone Depths. And it'll be even more scarier, believe it or not, than the Crimson Badlands. And the player will really need to have some good gear to even like walk around that area.
Like, my basic advice on the Badlands is we're waving swords today because we're invulnerable, but definitely bringing one of each weapon is a good idea. And a slingshot with explosive ammo in it, so you can do that. What I just did there.
There's also an unlock here called the Galaxy Slingshot. It's actually, believe it or not, cut content from the vanilla game, and I give that as a reward in this cave here. That's very scary. But players can get the Galaxy Slingshot, and if you use Iridium or an ammunition for it, you can do like 500 damage per shot. It can be expensive though, but this is an in-game area, and I feel like players should have a lot of money already.
Yep.
And there's also the Iridium Quarry, so you can just literally farm your ammunition there. Yes, and here we have the Swirl Stone. Interesting item.
That was used for potion making, right?
The Swirl Stone will have more uses for in the future. Right now, you can just sell it for 15,000 gold. Only one spawns down here, and it's not even a guaranteed spawn each day.
Crusader is very good in the Badlands. Nova Stellum has just mentioned that. Having a weapon that has Crusader on it will mean that you can cut through the mummies and not have to blow up their corpses.
Yeah, these guys will kill you in 2 hits, and they have a lot of health.
The defense stat is very important. Maxed out defense as much as I could get these guys could still kill Hadley in like 2 hits.
So I have hell cheats on. There's a trap here where you get pincer maneuvered.
Yes, I remember that.
I've seen so many players get killed right here because they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of mummies, I can take them, and you can easily get overwhelmed. I should be dead already.
Yeah. If these guys touch you like once or twice, you're doomed. Like, I think the optimum tactic is to be... Well, I think the two-hander weapon cancellation move is good, in conjunction with having the explosive ring, as well as Crusader could probably make it a lot easier as well. The dagger, the way that you've changed the dagger makes it very effective for these situations too.
Yeah, I always felt like the dagger was kind of useless as a weapon class in vanilla. So in Stardew Valley Expanded, I increased the DPS for the dagger because you're sacrificing defense because you need to get very close to a monster to use it. So if you're going to sacrifice defense, I feel like you should do more DPS. And the hammer was changed in that, like, it's a very slow and clunky weapon, so you actually get more defense with hammers. And swords weren't changed too much because everyone uses a sword.
Yeah.
I just want to give players more of a reason to use hammers and daggers.
It's definitely worthwhile having one of each just for the variety of enchants.
Yeah.
That you can have. Like, I find it quite handy to have vampiric on the sword if you want to be... want to conserve your consumables. You can get yourself a health proc every now and then if you're careful. There's lots of fun ways. I think he himself, Eric, really wants to expand on action, hence why he's making Haunted Chocolatier. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game. It's honestly my #1 game that I'm looking forward to. And I'm kind of happy that we don't know too much about it. And it's kind of like the same reason why I don't like revealing too much about what else is coming in Stardew Valley Expanded, because, like, I mean, what's the fun in spoiling everything for people, right?
Exactly. So that's a little tip for you guys. Daggers are very good for floaty enemies. This one's not a particularly good dagger, it's just for show. But if you use your special move on a ghost, they will die a lot faster because you'll spend for ages playing ping pong with them otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, these ghosts have a lot of health too, and they're really annoying. The whole idea behind the Iridium Quarry, in terms of its monster placements and map design, is that it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse. Like, you want to get in here and you want to just kind of ignore all these enemies as you mine the iridium, but as you can tell, they're creeping up on us, so you got to keep moving. And you can kite them around all the terrain here.
So everything we're seeing here is going to be even more expanded.
Yeah, like this, there will be an Iridium Quarry in 2.0, but it won't look like this anymore, and it won't even be in the same location.
Are you planning to make any boss monsters?
Yeah, I actually talked to another modder. He goes by the name of Space Chase. I've been talking to him a little bit about boss AI. And I talked to Eska a little bit about that, but I really would want to have, like, Terraria-style boss fights in Stardew Valley. A lot of that's out of my skill set, though. Like, I'm totally capable of doing the spriting, doing all, like, the storyboarding, and coming with, like, attack patterns and, like, how they fit in a dungeon. But in terms of, like, actually programming the AI for the boss, I can't do that, so I'll need to get some help on that. But, yeah, 2.0 will totally have bosses that are more than just, like, mindless AI that monsters are right now in the game.
That question was from Birdie. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, of course.
Will we have a farm in the castle village? And is it inspired by ancient Egypt? Two-parter question.
Castle Village is definitely seeming like part of ancient Egypt. Like, this is kind of inspired by Earthbound, but I totally want, like, a pyramid dungeon really bad
nice.
in 2.0. Because I really like the pyramid dungeon in Earthbound, and I feel like it'd be really cool to, like, have, like, a dungeon that has, like, you know, hieroglyphs everywhere and, like, coffins and mummies, and maybe players will find out where the mummy monster comes from or where specific monsters come from, because there'll be, like, a lot of lore on each monster type and why they exist and how they came into being, things like that. Yeah, like, Castle Village is definitely Egypt inspired right now. I've drawn a lot of concept art for it, and I'm not exactly set on the exact artistic approach to it quite yet, but I make progress on it every week.
Great. Just look at my questions.
I should have been dead like 10 times over by now. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
god, yeah. These guys will mess you up.
Yeah.
Hadley
That's why
is
you're not supposed to fight them. You're supposed to ignore these guys and
Yeah,
get the
like-
iridium.
sort of teaches you that, like, prioritize grabbing the iridium and getting out of there. Make it worth your while.
Oh no, I got a geode for the first time.
So what is the overall roadmap, you would say, for Stardew Valley Expanded? Where do you think this is going to go inevitably?
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't really like making roadmaps, but I can tell you like what's coming next. Like I'm working on 1.14.15 right now, and it'll focus on kind of expanding an in-game location. We were just there, Fable Reef. There's not that much content there, and I feel like there can be a lot more. So I kind of want to add like a bunch more magical, crazy fish similar to the torpedo trout with like their crazy stories behind them.
Ah, yeah.
And maybe like a quest line that players can do with Jolene and maybe even turn to an NPC early for 2.0. And I also kind of want to expand the Witch Swamp. I have some fun ideas for that area because the only content there is you go to the Witch Swamp to, well, do dark magic, which is really bad, pretty evil. If you think about like, I'm gonna dub my kids because I want to restart. It's like, golly gee, that's pretty bad. And
Yeah.
there will be an NPC. There will be an NPC in Castle Village that will call you out if your player has ever dabbled in dark magic. I'm not saying anything bad will come of it, but there will be acknowledgement that you've partook in dark magic.
Cool.
I'm also working on Stardew Valley 1.6 migrations behind the scenes. There's a lot of cool modding tools that's being added, and it just lets content creators like myself add more content than ever. Like there's a lot of cool things we can do. Like we can add new machines, we can add new trees, we can have control over the weather and like what kind of wild critters will spawn in outdoor maps. Like these are very important tools for creating a location that's across the world. And that's like 2.0 content, which is still a ways out, but I'm steadily working on it. And in terms of other projects, there is one more project that I am working on with my best friend in real life. I am making my own video game.
Yes, the big question. Your future plans.
Yeah. I am working on my own video game with my best friend, and he's a very talented programmer. He actually goes by the alias 0 meters online, and we are just a two-man team on this project. I'm not ready to release any details on it yet, other than it's a top-down Pixar game, and I've created quite a lot of artwork for it already, and that's just a fun project that I'm also working on along with other things. I just like keeping myself busy.
That is great. I think it feels like the natural step, giving everything you've learned to start making
like
your own.
people have asked if I'm going to mod Haunted Chocolatier, and I'm not going to. I'm actually going to pursue making my own game instead.
I think Haunted Chocolatier is going to surprise people. I don't think it's going to be the kind of game that's going to necessarily lend itself to modding.
Modded Chocolatier is supposed to have more modding support than ever, actually. More than Stardew Valley. Yeah. Like, a lot of things are not going to be hard-coded, so you really don't need much programming knowledge.
Oh,
I
well,
think, to
shut my
add
mouth.
Content.
You have modders have something to look forward to in Haunted Chocolatier. See, in my mind, I thought he was doing more of it.
Oh, I just went in here. What the heck is this?
I don't think I have that mod installed. Nope, I can't go in there.
Oh, my game crashed too. I forgot I took that out. I actually do have Castle Village as an explorable area, but it's like a patron-only thing.
We
It's called Retro Castle Village.
I'll let you in on it, folks. We wedded it in there, behind the scenes, but we weren't going to talk about it on the stream. And then that happened. I don't have that installed.
If you have the mod folder I gave you, you can install it really quickly and we can jump back in.
Are you sure? Do you want to go in there?
Yeah, sure. Why don't we explore Castle Village's world map a bit in there?
All right, I'll go back to the farmhouse and I'll progress the day because I would like to go to see a Hamish cameo. That would be funny. But then I can always change the date for that. Oh, we're gonna get a little bit of a sneak peek on the interior of Castle Village. We're gonna go over to the void, so you can still see my drawn avatar and Flash's avatar there, and it's gonna exit to the desktop and put that back in.
Yeah, so I have this edition added in my mod setup for the multiplayer, but if the host does not have the same mods as the farmhands, this is what happens, guys. You will crash. It's very important that the host and farmhands have the same mods installed, barring cosmetics. You don't need to have the same cosmetic mods installed, but when it comes to mods that add like new locations, for example, the host has to have that installed.
Okay. Almost got it in there. Yeah, I took it out because I thought you didn't want me to have that in.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's actually kind of my bad, but you know what? Walking past that gate kind of got the better of me. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why don't we show off the map a little bit? And you guys can actually hear a new song that I made. It's the Castle Village theme, but
cool.
It's different in that it's a 16-bit song, and you'll see why. You'll all see why.
I'm now seeing why you have the skip intro mod.
Skip intro is one of the most important mods for a content creator in the modding community. You save so much time booting up the game again, because like when I'm adding modded content, I'm working on stuff or doing bug fixes, my game crashes a lot. I've seen so much red text in my life modding this game. My game has crashed probably well over 1,000 times throughout my modding career, and skip intro is just very important for debugging the game.
Interesting question from Avalon Games here. Have you thought about including cameos from your SVE characters in your own games?
I haven't really thought too much about that, but I feel like I will, because like I said, a lot of my characters are kind of inspired by real people in my life, and I feel like it's just kind of natural to add characters like that. Now, they're not going to be the same, of course.
Farms back up, by the way.
They won't be the same, but something like that. Yeah, I can say that there will be something like that in my game.
You could join the farm now, by the way.
All right.
This is the tiny map farm, by the way, folks. Hamish got real lazy and decided he didn't want to farm on his main farm in SVE.
Yeah. I believe this farmhouse is made by Harb. He's the same guy that made the downtown Zuzu City mod. This is one of his farm maps, and it's probably one of the hardest farm maps in the game in modded history, because it's so small that you don't really have any operation room to do anything here. I suppose this farm would actually tie in very well if players have Grampleton Fields installed, because you get that extra farming space out there. And another cool thing that Stardew Valley 1.6 is adding the ability to do is you can construct farm buildings in custom locations, meaning you can construct like barns and coops and stuff in Grampleton Fields and have it be like a huge extension of your farmland in 1.6 whenever that comes out. But we're still waiting for the mobile update to come out before we can get 1.6 on PC.
Yeah. You can challenge yourself with that farm. I mainly got it just because he's very much all about the show, so he doesn't really care about farming. But also, he was going to focus more on Aurora Vineyard. Turn that into
Aurora Vineyard is also some farmland you can get later on too, and you can get that in both routes. It actually used to just be a Joja only thing when I was first making it, but players really wanted the property, or at least the option to get the property and community center around, so I came up with a way to implement that.
So hopefully this works now. Should do.
Should work.
Oh, well, didn't even have to press anything. Here we are. So this is a retro pixel map of what will be Castle Village in the future.
So it's kind of funny. I actually designed this in tiled. So I drew the Castle Village world map in tiled. So it's like super retro looking. But I did this to like map out the general design of what the city is going to look like and everything. So I can get like a good feel for it.
It definitely works. I'm getting a really good sense. We've got player in huge text by here.
Yeah, the player will be able to have a house. There will be a quest line for this, and it will cost a lot of money. And players will need to get some new resources and stuff. But you can get a house here, and there will also be a new farm map that will come out the same day 2.0 is released, where it's mostly going to be a map that's geared towards veterans of Stardew Valley Expanded, not Stardew Valley, but for veterans of this mod. And it'll be very hard because it'll be kind of like a map similar to the small farm map mod that you have installed right now. It'll be different, but it'll force players to do their farming activities in a different location, because when it comes to the gameplay loop of Stardew Valley, you spend most of your time on your farm map. So if I want to change the gameplay loop there, I need to change the location of where players do most of their gameplay and stuff. Like this right here. This is the West Gate, and out here players can adventure and things like that. And it's a bit of a scary area over there. I have shortcuts. I'm gonna have shortcuts everywhere. Like this is a warpath that will actually take you to the right side of the city, and this is the East Gate. And it's a bit more green over here, maybe like a magical forest type of area. Over here, I'm thinking, we'll see. I'm still thinking about all the, a lot of ideas and things like that.
I said this to you before, but it's a great contrast seeing the modern Stardew Valley sprite against these very sort of retro sprites. You can really see, you can begin to imagine just how detailed this is going to look and how big it's going to be when you're finished.
This is the apothecary. So when players die here, this is where they will spawn back. So it kind of acts like Harvey's clinic.
So it's safe to say if you're a veteran player and you take the Castle Village farm, you're going to be getting a very different experience.
Yeah, you will.
What with having your doctor be different.
It'll actually unlock Castle Village immediately, because Castle Village is super in-game content. But if people want to experience the Castle Village content during the first week, which I don't recommend, I will not recommend if players haven't played Stardew Valley Expanded before. I would not recommend that farm map. But if they want to experience the new content immediately in 2.0, they can start that farm map and they can immediately get here.
That was a question that was aimed at me earlier. Somebody was asking what I would be doing a playthrough in 2.0, and the answer is Hadley will be doing that. He'll be taking the veterans path into Castle Village.
This area right here, there's going to be a slime rancher in Castle Village. His name's Gideon. And I think he might be a marriage candidate. He actually has completed portrait art. I've only shown his portrait art to 5 other people, I think, including people in my team. So that is a character that will own a slime ranch, and people can buy new types of monsters that act as livestock.
That's big.
It will be more than just slimes. Think of Marnie and how in vanilla, how she just has cows. Well, but she sells you sheep, she sells you bunnies, she sells you different types of animals. This building will basically be act kind of like Marnie's ranch.
You're going to be able to have a very different experience as a farmer if you take the veteran route.
Down here is the Church of Yoba. This is the graveyard for adventurers and things like that. And I'm not too sure what will happen here, but I always kind of want to add a church building. So that's what this will be and where that will be located.
Could have weddings there if it was Castle Village characters.
Possibly, yeah. I think if the way that players will go around marrying a Castle Village character will be completely different from marrying a character in Stardew Valley. It has nothing to do with the mermaid pendant. There will be a completely different process that kind of involves the player having to prove themselves in a way, like a quest. I'm going to climb the tallest mountain and pick this white flower for you.
Oh, nice.
That only grows here. And then you propose to them with this flower that's only obtainable on Death Mountain or something.
Wow. They have their own traditions.
Yeah, of course they do. It's a completely different area, so they would have their own traditions. And this here, how can you have a new city and not have a blacksmith? This blacksmith is nothing like Clint. She is going to be a very hardcore character. But that's where she'll be. And she has an outside furnace and stuff like that. You can barely tell that is a furnace, but
it's very exciting.
The idea is there.
I'm imagining the veteran playthrough of starting on this different farm. Such a different, immersive way to play the game. I think that'd be an even better way to experience Castle Village if you feel like you're playing it from day one. But again, advisable for experienced players, that one.
Right. And this is the academy, so there will be a magic school. I'm not sure how it'll work, but when it comes to like the non-social NPCs moving around the city, some of those non-social NPCs will be students, and there are dormitories that are going to be down here from the academy. So the whole like idea behind Castle Village is that it's a very magical place, and it's going to have a focus on adventuring and enchantments, and it's going to be very different from Pelican Town. Like if I'm going to make a new city, I want it to have a completely different feel from what players have already experienced in the base game. And this place it's like a hub for like mages and adventurers. And if anyone has seen John Wick, it kind of acts like the Continental, in that it's like a hub for like really like a very finite amount of superior people. And in that movie, they're like trained assassins and things like that.
Yeah.
But in here, they're like mages and adventurers and things like that.
Where are we off now?
Like I don't know. We're just kind of walking around.
Just go anywhere.
Up here, this is the guild hall. It's a very big castle building. I coded it so you can like you can use some doors and stuff. These are supposed to be adventurers sparring.
Adventurers having a friendly sparring session.
Yeah, like on top of the guild hall, there will be like a little training arena mat, and there'll be like some NPCs that train here, and there will be a guild leader NPC. So Castle Village will, of course, have their own guild leader.
Cool. Is there any other areas? There is
we gotta walk to the left.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure people are interested in where like Camilla will be stationed. As you can tell, it's very nice up here. It's not so deserty. And
yes.
Camilla kind of arguably lives in the best spot. Of course she would, but this is her place. Like, she lives in a tower. It's actually like a two-pronged tower that's connected with like a hallway. And there'll be all sorts of things that players can do here.
Funny comment here. Hey says, I might make my character look like Geralt of Rivia and marry every sorcerer.
You can do that. Yeah, I'm gonna give players that huge magical adventure, and if you want to jump right into it when this content is released at some point, you can totally do that. And it's just really cool to see players come up with like backgrounds and their own stories for their own characters. I really love seeing that.
I would quite like a mod where you can see a sword sheathed on the back. I've always imagined Hadley had a sword on his back.
You can use the towers as shortcuts.
Oh, look at this. We can see how we're...
this is the wall.
Yeah.
Alesia will be stationed here a lot. A lot of her schedule. Alesia is going to kind of be like the lead sentry type of person. She's like a guard, and because she's like a sniper, she's an archer, and there'll be other people under her command, but that's like what she does, while Isaac is more of I'm thinking like Isaac might be more of a dungeon crawler. Like he's really like a front field vanguard type of guy, and that's why he has like a battle scar on him.
What is his favorite weapon?
I think Isaac's favorite weapon is swords.
Yeah, swordsman, edgy swordsman.
And of course, there will be another farmer NPC here. Players will be able to buy a new whole array of magical crops that they can bring home with them if they want to. And this is my attempt at making a crop field in like low-res 16-bit.
That's good.
And it has like a little gate down here and stuff like that too. But like, this is just like this is like a proof of concept, if you will. Like this is concept art of the map design as a general. And there's like a long dirt path here, because I feel like when it comes to like a city, you gotta have benches in a park, and you gotta have like some areas where it's calm and it's quiet and it looks pretty, and people can come here. It's like this river area, or like the lake up here to the left, and there will be some new fish, of course, that players can fish up here.
Are you planning on having a seasonal effect on the area, or is it kind of evergreen?
I'm not thinking Castle Village will have any seasons at all, because the lore behind the Crimson Badlands is that it's like really ancient dark magic. Something bad happened here a long time ago, and it's like a cursed land, and time works a little differently here. And I feel like that's also like something else that makes it kind of unique, besides the fact that this city is stationed adjacent to a very scary place. But it's not just the wall that protects people here. There's a lot of enchantments and spells, and
Feels very cozy already.
Yeah, it's a cozy place, and I was also kind of inspired by like Pokemon. I love how like in Goldenrod City and like in Saffron City, how you have lots of houses in these Pokemon cities, but like 90% of the houses you cannot get into them, and that's okay because those buildings are meant to be there to fill out the city. So like these buildings right here, they have like a pool up here. They have like a thing and a hatch, but you can't get into this building because it's facing the other way.
Yeah.
So houses that aren't facing towards the player are not accessible, and it's also in general just like due to like the viewport limitations of how a top-down pixel art game works. You can't really have a house that you enter in backwards.
So through the veterans path, you're gonna be able to have a very castle village orientated playthrough for those who are sort of worried that they might end up neglecting their farms. Although when you're in end game, you pretty much got your farm sewed up pretty well. So
especially you have the automate mod installed. Yeah, you'll never have to worry about like money because your machines work for you at that point. The plaza here, I really want a cool large fountain with like market stands, and there'll be a certain NPC will be at this one in particular, but I won't spoil that.
So aside from the veteran path of having a farm that's connected to Castle Village, was there any plan on any other property for the player?
I'm not too sure yet. Well, I actually am sure, but I can't go into that quite yet.
Yeah, we'll leave that one for the future.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the workable pool.
Actually, I know. I added so many dumb workable things in this concept art area. Like, this is a pool that's on top of the building.
Last time we came here, we discovered that I'd accidentally left Hamish as a female farmer.
Yeah. So this building right here is actually the first / estate. So you can find Jolene and Lance here on some days. This is like a joint building for their guild that they have. And I think when it comes to like the player's house, that might not necessarily just be the player's house, but might be like the estate for their guild from Stardew Valley. So you get like some representation of like the different guilds in the world here. Because like I said, this place is like a hub, and people from all over the world commune here. And it's like a place where like adventurers and mages can like rest up, restock their elixirs, and they can meet other people that are in the same profession as them. There's like a very famous academy here. And of course, there's the Silver Unicorn, an inn/tavern right here that players can go to. And this is actually where players will be able to sleep. Because like I will say it will take players some time to build their house here. And if players want to sleep in the city while they're creating their house, they can rent a room here.
Great.
While that's happening.
One of the questions that's popping up quite a few times here is, any plan for festivals in Castle Village?
Yes, there will be at least a couple festivals, and they will be very different and unique. And one of the festivals in particular will not even take place in the city itself. It'll be a far away area. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I have some crazy ideas for some pretty cool festivals that I feel like players are going to enjoy a lot.
Great.
That's pretty much it for Castle Village, by the way. Like that's the general design of the city. Why don't we exit out that front gate, put on our helmets, and let's go slay some monsters. Get off my property, you know.
Oh, they're all over it. I'm gonna use the crystal.
That's something I'll need to fix. Like I said, the Crimson Badlands will be designed differently, so you don't get like bum rushed as soon as you exit the gate.
Yeah. More of a moat, maybe, or sort of more of a built-up entrance.
Oh, you're using the diamond wand. That is a very fun weapon type.
Yep. You get this wand from romancing. Is it romancing? Getting to know Lance.
It's through Lance's monster crop quest in the Highlands. And speaking of which, we should go to the Highlands.
Yes, let's go to the Highlands. That's a good idea.
I'm gonna cheat and debug warp there now. But yeah, the diamond wand is meant as a pacifist type of weapon where you don't kill monsters, but it will fling them very far away from the player. It doesn't really work well in like close quarter battle type scenarios like the mines. You shouldn't be using a diamond wand in the mines. It's mostly meant as a weapon to use in the Crimson Badlands if you get overwhelmed or like the Highlands, because they're very huge open areas, and the Diamond Wand I feel really shines in these maps if players are being bum rushed by too many monsters at the same time.
Chat was wondering if you can fish in the fountain in Castle Village.
Maybe. I think it'd be funny if kind of like how Concern 8 made it, so you have to fish up a lost amulet. That's like, it's like Caroline's necklace. You have to fish up at the bathhouse, like the outdoor spring area in the bathhouse at the railroad. You have to fish in there to get this item. So I feel like yeah, there might be like a quest related activity where it'll be like kind of fun and quirky. I'm not sure what the item would be,
I'll
but
chuck you
yeah,
the crystal
I
wand.
think that'd be
if you
fun
want
to
it.
implement. A crystal wand.
Yeah, I'll chuck it to you.
Oh yeah, the diamond wand.
The diamond wand, yeah.
So what makes the Highlands very unique is that the monsters here can drop crop seeds, but they're not your ordinary crop seeds. They're monster crop seeds. And it's a nice way for players to earn some money, and that they can get free crops here. But the monsters here do hit pretty hard.
Wasn't the Highlands directly inspired by Haunted Chocolatier, if I'm right?
It actually was. I really liked how Concerned Ape was in his trailer for his game, how he was fighting in an open world area with like grass and trees and mountains and things like that. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And I thought about it, and I felt like that was something that was really missing in Stardew Valley. There really isn't any combat areas outdoors. I wouldn't really consider the Crimson Badlands an outdoors area. If anything, the Crimson Badlands is actually an indoors area in terms of the internal code and how it's made. It's actually an indoors map, funnily enough. That's why it doesn't rain there. Because when it comes to like preventing rain and weather, Stardew Valley modding is very limited in that right now. It won't be in 1.6, which is why I'm going to be able to change the Badlands so much once that update hits, or when 2.0 is ready, that is.
Definitely a very fun area. I've enjoyed checking out the...
yeah.
Very handy for resources.
Keychain designed these new forest columns, by the way, with the big eyes. She did a pretty good job. I just wanted the monsters here to look a little bit unique, and she felt like she did a really good job.
As you can see here, the diamond wand will smack an enemy backwards until they hit something.
Yeah.
But if they're a flying enemy, they'll just be gone.
Oh yeah, like this. I've heard players call the diamond wand the serpent killer, because if you hit a flying enemy with this, they are not coming back. They will actually fly off of the screen and they will despawn.
Yeah, that's great.
You don't get drops. You don't get drops from them, but they're out of the picture.
It's a good way if like you're just trying to get straight to business on something you don't want to fight. So the downside is kind of just about equals it out. Rather than getting the loot from it, you just get it out of the way.
Oh, I got a stock seed. It's a new seed that the forest columns here drop. It's a pretty good monster crop.
Yeah, I had fun growing some of these crops on one of the other streams I did with Hadley. Very good incentive for combat. Every one of these monsters will give you a crop for a different season.
Yeah, when it comes to me implementing new areas in Stardew Valley Expanded, I always want there to be a purpose on why players will spend time here. And in terms of like there's like a little quest line here, not just the monster crop quest line, but there's also like another hidden quest line here that players can get. But there's also this cavern up here which gives players pretty much unlimited gold, silver, iron and copper.
Yeah,
it's very good. Towards the stage in the game, though, I imagine most players don't need these resources, or they have the money to just buy them. So that's why I felt okay with like how I balanced the ore intake here. So it's actually a lot, and the mobs in here are actually pretty dangerous, but they're actually in passive mode right now.
Oh yeah, because Hamish has actually made peace with them.
Yeah, in Stardew Valley Expanded, you can make peace with the shadow people, and they become passive, and they become your friends. Like, look at this guy. We're just looking at each other right now. We're friends.
I've actually just recently we found this area quite useful at endgame, because we had like a project to build a lot of solar panels, and it can be quite tiring to go back through the mines to get them. So in endgame, this is a good way for you to get resources that you might have for a particular idea that you have. This was definitely giving us everything we needed to get solar panels en masse. And a challenge as well, because we had not befriended the shadow people.
So you have to be a little careful in your still, though. There are non-shadow monster types will still attack you, but most of the monster population here are void spirits. So once you get to this point in the game where you have made peace with them, this becomes a very safe mining area and becomes a superior quarry in a way.
Ooh, forgot what this is by here. It's a void root.
So that's those seeds that void spirits drop, and I had to make it so, well, what if players still needed these crops, but they can't defeat void spirits anymore, so how do they get them? The void spirits, as a token of friendship, they'll actually just place them around this cave for you to pick
nice.
up. And you can in turn put that in a seed maker and you can make seeds with it.
Uni has used member chat to ask, would you give Dusty many pets? I think that's
Yeah, I would give Dusty all the pets in the whole world. He's honestly Stardew Valley's best boy. I've actually gotten a lot of requests to turn Dusty into a NPC, but I feel like I could. It's just like it's kind of difficult turning Dusty in particular into an NPC because Dusty's a dog, right? And the horizontal axis it's like 32 pixels, but player sprites are hard coded to be 16 pixels in horizontal length, so it's quite difficult to make an NPC that can do that. So it's kind of like one of the major limitations as to why that hasn't happened.
It hasn't stopped people turning barn animals into NPCs. But this would be different. There's unfortunately way too many townsfolk who have been turned into barn animals.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ore here.
I believe Abigail has even been turned into a chicken at some point.
Have you heard about the Stardew Valley straw mod? It literally turns all the villagers into straws.
No.
I kid you not.
I'll have to look at that one. Any plan to make radioactive ore easier to get? Snovastellum.
It actually is in Stardew Valley Expanded. Have they heard of the radioactive carp?
Radioactive
it's a new fish
carp.
You can catch in the sewers.
Yeah.
You put it in the fish pond, there's a chance that it'll produce radioactive ore. So it's a very hard fish to catch, and it is quite rare. But if you get a bunch of them, like 10 of them, into a fish pond, you can actually get some nice passive income of radioactive ores from it. But you have to work hard to catch them up, and your skills as a fisherman will be tested.
Yeah, I was I can't remember how difficult it was. Quite difficult for me to fish up the gemfish. Remember that was quite hard.
Yeah, the gemfish is a new fish that's found here in this cave, actually. Question
from Hayer: have you ever thought about killing anyone? Death events.
Killing anyone?
More mature
no,
events in general.
I have not. I feel like that kind of goes against the spirit of vanilla to do something like that. I think there's some other mods that kind of do something like that, but I don't feel like that's something I'll add to Stardew Valley Expanded, even in 2.0.
More mature events. Is that on the table?
Yeah, I guess that could be like a more mature thing. If I would really have to think very hard because I would have to execute that idea, and that could get kind of ugly kind of fast. So that's something I definitely have to think about, but I'm definitely leaning towards no. There will be events where, like, a player has to like save someone, but
nice.
Maybe not them dying.
Shall we pick a location to have our audience questions section?
Yeah, why don't we go back to the farmhouse, to the interview room, and we can take questions from folks.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one more thing I want to show people here. This was actually an inquiry on the subreddit recently.
Mm-hmm.
People have been wondering, how do we get over there to the left where all these mystic stones are?
Yep.
Oh, watch out for your six. You can go down here, and then to the left.
You can see the little iridium light.
Yep. And boom, look at that. All these mystic stones.
We actually did that on our last live stream. We found this while we were in here.
Yeah, these are great because they have a chance of giving you prismatic shards. A player actually told me that they they got a prismatic shard right here, but it fell into the water and they lost it. They were very sad about it, and I'm like, well, that sucks. That's just RNG when it comes to
Gotta be
mining
careful.
by a source of water. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
All right.
But yeah, let's go back to the farmhouse.
Yeah, sure. Here we are. Hamish's daughter is going to stand in the middle, apparently. Time to look at all of your questions, folks.
Got my farmer outfit back on. My favorite color is green, and this is actually what I tend to make my farmer look like whenever I play the game. Your kid is looking at the golden piggy bank.
Stood right in the middle of us. Oh, they
Let's all look at it together.
Oh, not on my screen. They look in the other direction.
Oh, okay. I guess that's client-sided, but on my screen they're looking directly at the golden piggy bank.
Hamish's kid is all about the showmanship as well. They've come to stand in between us.
Yeah, the golden piggy bank is a new item I added recently. It's actually an item that Eska and I collabed on. He did the programming for it, where it takes 1 gold away from you each time you click it. And it's really just meant as like a vanity item, or as I like to call it, a flex item, because you need to have earned over 10 million gold, and you get mailed this in the mail. And if you have this in your farmhouse, that means you're loaded and you are very rich.
Yes, it is a
more
play
money than you
thing.
can do with.
This is lovely.
And it's an item inspired from Animal Crossing.
So our first question saved was... which characters that are found in Expanded when they're... a question basically asking about who the first character was that you invented for Stardew Valley Expanded. I believe we went over this. This was the Jenkins, I believe.
Yeah, I can go over that again. Stardew Valley Expanded originally was only supposed to have 5 NPCs, a rich family and 3 farmers. And it was kind of inspired by Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, because in that Harvest Moon game, there were other farmers in the valley, and there was a rich family that like lived on a hill. And I felt like that would add a really cool dynamic to the game that I felt like was missing. Because like I just feel like it's cool because like it just makes you as the player, as a farmer, feel more involved in a community when there's other people that are working hard just like you in the same profession.
So that question was from Ota Kramer. Our next one is from Paul. I'm not sure how to say that one. What locations did you want to add into SVE that didn't make it in the end?
A lot of 2.0 locations actually. Think about like Team Cherry when it came to Hollow Knight. They were working on this really cool lava level that they really wanted to have in Hollow Knight, but they just didn't have the time to really realize that area. But they're adding it in Silksong, and that's like a new game for them. There have definitely been some locations that kind of have a similar story in my mod that are just like that, and players will be able to explore them eventually. But I don't want to spoil too much on what these locations are and what they will be.
Question from One Sopal 6. What is one thing that you would have done, designed, written differently in the vanilla Stardew Valley?
Something that I would have done differently.
Changed.
Like when before my mod was first released.
Yes. Is there anything that bothered you about Stardew that you would rewrite?
Not really. No, I don't think I do, actually. If I wanted something done, it's already happened, and that's why 3 years later I'm still working on this project.
Exactly, that's what it's all about.
Like it's funny because like you mentioned that, and I just did that actually. Like I kind of regretted, like, dang man, I should have expanded the Secret Woods. It looks a bit too blocky, and I feel like there could have been more done with that area, and maybe like some new forage, maybe like a new fish or something. And I decided to work on that, and and it's out now, and people can enjoy that content at this very moment.
So the floor is open to additional questions as well. I'll just work through the ones that have been saved already first, though. Did you ever play MapleStory 2? How did you feel with the shutdown? I believe you mentioned MapleStory earlier, didn't you?
No, I didn't play MapleStory 2, and honestly, a big reason why I didn't was because, unfortunately, from the get-go of me seeing the first gameplay trailers of it, I was just not interested because I felt like what made MapleStory such a cool, unique game was that it was a 2D MMO, and they made it 3D, and it looked
Uh,
a lot like Minecraft, and I just felt like somehow they made the game worse. And you don't need to take my word for that. The game failed. They had to shut it down, and in the United States of America, and you have to have like a you have to live in Korea if you want to play MapleStory 2 with their servers over there, and you have to be like a valid Korean resident too. The funny thing is, like, I'm actually Korean myself, and I do have family that do live in Korea, and if I wanted to, I could play MapleStory 2.
mhm.
But I really don't have any desire to. Like, I really wish like Nexon, how they approached MapleStory 2 was like they took a book out of like Octopath Traveler and they added really cool depth and shader effects, but it was still 2D, but it looked beautiful, and they expanded the original world. I feel like that would have been a much better approach, but they decided to take a gamble. They went 3D and they lost that gamble.
Yeah, seems like an odd shift. Um, so this is more of a question about your own experience from Adrian Rizu.
Mhm.
What do you think of Washington as a city?
I've lived in Washington all my life, and I currently live in Seattle. And I don't think I ever want to move away from Washington. I love the weather here. I just love the Pacific Northwest a lot, and it's actually where Concerned Ape lives too. And Stardew Valley is actually completely based off of the Pacific Northwest where I live. And I feel like that's maybe one of the reasons why this game resonated so much with me. And even a lot of the new items I've added and sort of like expanded or inspired by this location. Like in the Secret Woods update, I actually added a bunch of forage that you can find here in the Pacific Northwest, like salal berries, for example. Like that's a berry you can find here, and they grow in the form of bushes. And I made it so players can grow that on their own farms.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that from Uni. Actually, was saying something about that. You actually live in the same city as Concerned Ape, right? Is Seattle where he is?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny enough. Concerned Ape and I actually both live in the same city.
Yeah. So you definitely vibe with his creation in terms of he did definitely set it in that same region, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What have we got next? Another one from Sopel here. Where's it gone? It was very good. Will Gil ever be a fully fledged character in SVE? We've already seen the legendary Standing Gil.
Standing Gill. I've seen and heard all the memes of Standing Gill. Maybe. I don't feel like it's important to flesh out every single character in the game. Like, for example, like the wizard's ex-wife, who's a crazy witch that flies on her broomstick every night, cursing people. I feel like some characters, because I'm trying to remain vanilla, so I don't feel like it's necessary to expand everything. Gil does have some expanded roles though, and he's involved in more events. And I've actually written a bit of dialogue for him. If players are completing the monster quests and they're getting like the rings and stuff, talk to Gil. He will actually. There's actually like I've written like over 30 lines of dialogue for him where he'll talk about the rings that you now have, and he'll talk about like where some of them originate from, or who's used them, or how they were made. And there's all sorts of fun things that you can discover by just talking to him if you are doing the monster eradication quests.
There you go. There's some pretty interesting guild content that you can already access.
Yeah.
So check that out. A question from Catherine Snyder. I'm actually super curious about what Flash's other favorite games are. Since he loves Stardew, and we all love Stardew, I'd love to know what other games he loves and how they've influenced him. I think we talked a little bit about this in the beginning.
I really love Animal Crossing a lot. I actually just booted up Animal Crossing Wild World recently, and that was actually what kind of inspired like the conch and the sand dollar and the Rafflesia in the Secret Woods and on the beach, because like I booted up my Wild World farm and I forage at the beach, and there's an ugly Rafflesia there that you can't remove because I hadn't played that save file in like 3 years, and it's like a really disgusting, ugly flower that grows in your town, and you cannot get rid of it until your town is clean, and it'll remove itself. And I kind of got that idea from me booting up Animal Crossing again. I honestly take a lot of ideas from all sorts of games that I play, and I feel like that is like an important aspect to have when you're developing content for a game, in that you kind of have to be a gamer yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Be hard not to, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So this is more of a funny one from Arif Zaki. Can we marry Morris? Making it all the way up the Joja ladder. Lol.
Okay. So I actually had a poll on Patreon, and no one wanted to marry Morris. And that same poll, I was like saying, like, you guys want to marry Clint? What about Willie? How about Gus? The Wizard? Everyone wanted the Wizard. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, let's make that happen. And I worked on that for like 3 weeks to like a month, and made that happen. And Golix Chats actually helped with some of the dialogue for that too. And the Wizard's 14 Heart event is actually kind of a collaboration with Poltergeister, Keychain, me and Golix Chats. Like, we all worked on that event together to really make that scene. Like, I made the music for it, and I made the map, and I made the pacing, but Golix Chats actually wrote all the dialogue for that one.
The Wizard 14 Heart.
Yeah, the Wizard's 14 Heart event, which has left quite an impression on everyone who's experienced it. I don't want to spoil it, though.
Great, yeah.
All of the Stardew Valley Expanded 14 Heart events I feel like they really go far and beyond.
It was
because I spent a very long time developing them.
There's quite a bit of buzz for that 14 Heart event. I saw some chat about that on Reddit. Very good one to check out with the Wizard. Yatagarasu wonders if Flash... Oh no. I think we've been over that one. Here's a good one from Noverstellum. What inspired the addition of Claire? I think it's a little obvious, but it's still interesting to talk about.
I really do like Claire as a character. I wanted a new dynamic in Pelican Town, and I thought a really good way to go about adding a new dynamic is having a character that was there a lot, but they didn't live there. They had a commute, and Claire was kind of inspired by that. And also, besides the fact that she's already a character in vanilla, I kind of lump Claire in the same boat as like Marlon and Morris and Gunther, in that they are vanilla characters, but they have expanded roles. It's just like Claire didn't have any portrait art or anything like that. And Poltergeister drew her artwork, and I developed her entire character. And I gotta say, coding her schedules was a absolute nightmare. Oh my gosh. There are actually moments where I cried a little bit.
Oh no!
Coding her schedule. Like at a certain point, I actually thought we sunk all this work into making her character, and it was impossible to actually have her move around, especially when she has to get into the cinema. Her schedules were glitching out, and I came up with a very unique way on how to solve a very technical problem. And it's kind of like one of the reasons why I really like coding, because coding is all about thinking differently and solving problems. And it's something that I had to teach myself, because getting to the modding scene, I had no experience with coding, and I had to teach myself everything to get it done. And I want to get it done because I really just want to see my dreams, like I said before, become a reality.
It's very gratifying to see a project from beginning to end.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's in the chat right now, but I think some of you guys have been here since day one, since 1.0, and it's been quite a journey. And the journey is not over yet. I
mean, I'm glad to be a part of it, because I was just let's look at mods for Stardew. Mm-hmm. This one, obviously, I saw Dangerously Funny cover it, and he was in his way very vague about it, but that must have been a big win for you, seeing him recognize the mod. I don't know if you ever saw the video.
I have.
I can't remember now what his impression was of it. God of Spam. Another Claire question. What made you give Claire a story and made you make her a bachelorette?
Claire actually didn't start as a bachelorette. So did Olivia. Also didn't start as a bachelorette. I was originally only going to add 2 new marriage candidates, but players kept on wanting more and more and more. And don't get me started on Lance. Like I had to add him as a marriage candidate. People would not let me get away with not adding him as a marriage candidate. Yeah, like Claire, like yeah, I added her as marriage candidate because like it's what players requested a lot of, so I made that a reality.
I really do love her. Like I said, she's my favorite. I'm now more attracted to redheads as a result of Claire's existence.
Yeah, it's not my fault that Claire's a redhead. Concern Ape just added a lot of redheads in the game, and there have been no characters. You just got to work with it. I'm not sure if Castle Village will add any redheads. I think we're moving away from that.
Mm-hmm. Red hair is very beautiful, and it's very weird to me that people give people a hard time for it. It's very bizarre.
Yeah.
In 2022 to still hear somebody go, "Oh, red hair," and you're like, "Wow, it's just a color." It's quite cool, actually. In reference to Claire from Mr. Ramsey Abir, they are curious as to where she came from and what inspired her. I think that's kind of a little base game self-evident, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. First off, is your kid still right here between us?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
just like Hamish, ready to put on a show.
Claire's entire character was inspired by like a lowly cashier, which is a lot of people's jobs.
Mm-hmm. Being there,
she was very tired, and I wanted to like really develop a character that was very tired. And I felt like there was no better bet than having that tired character being Claire, because she works very hard all the time, and she literally gets taken advantage of at Joja. Like if you watch Claire's events and Morris's events too, you'll see what I'm talking about. And that and I feel like it really just like hammers in the whole idea with like what vanilla Stardew Valley goes over, and that is like what capitalism is about, and how ordinary people really are like with their nose at the grinding stone, just trying to count the days as they go by. Like they just got to get the day done. You got to get the day done, and they have a couple days off, and then it's back to the grind. And I just really felt like Claire was the best candidate for a character like that.
It's an exhausting job. I mean, like I've been a cashier really in a few capacities, and it's always very tiring.
And it's especially exhausting if you have to deal with someone who's a frequent shopper there called Pam. Oh my gosh. There's like a whole event with Martin where he's like getting strung up by Pam. And he's like, oh my gosh, I do not like dealing with that lady. And Claire's like, well, you gotta get used to it because she shops here all the time. So sorry.
Oh god.
And I'm pretty sure if people cashier, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Like there's like that one person where you're like, oh no, it's not them. I hope they don't talk to me.
I don't know if you can relate to this, but this terrible thing happens to you when you're a cashier. You go home, you go to bed, and then you start dreaming that you're serving customers.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's like working while you're dreaming. I'm pretty sure Claire has had dreams like that too.
You have to shake yourself off in the dream and be like, I'm not at work. No, the till's closed. I have family members who have the exact same problem who worked in retail, and they're like, yep, you're serving customers in your sleep. It's awful because it's so repetitive.
Right.
Like, do not get paid enough to be a cashier. You really should. One of the questions we got. Lilith Jackson would like to know if Concerned Ape has had any involvement with the mod.
He has not. I've spoken to Concerned Ape, but he hasn't had any direct impact on my mod at all. I do know that he supports it, though.
I wonder if he's played it.
I'm not sure.
We should get him to play it one day. That could be our whole interview process, is getting him to play some Stardew Valley Expanded. I'm sure he'd love the opportunity to walk around and explore it if he hasn't already done that.
I think he might have played it. He's commented on some very specific things where I'm like, whoa, how do you know that if you haven't played it? You must have played it, because he's actually commented on one of Morris's specific schedules where, on Wednesdays how Pierre's closed, the famous, infamous meme, Pierre's is closed on Wednesdays. Well, Morris actually takes advantage of that, and in the mornings he'll actually go out in front of Pierre's shop and wave 50% off Joja coupons. And Concerned Abe has actually commented on that. I'm like, oh, okay, there's no way you knew about that unless you've probably played it. Maybe he heard it from someone else, but I think he's played it.
That's great. So, well, look, I think we're catching up with some of the questions. A lot of the questions, if your question hasn't been read out, it's largely because we have covered it already. I'm going through them. I'm seeing a lot of things we have covered. Birdie's asking about if there's going to be more dungeon crawling content and bosses in 2.0. We did go over that, but we could go over that again.
Yeah, there will be. One of my favorite games of all time is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and I really like the open world exploration and all the dungeons and stuff like that. And I honestly, I've made a lot of maps for Stardew Valley Expanded, and I've always wanted to make dungeon maps, but not like procedurally generated generic dungeons. I'm talking like really thoughtfully planned dungeons with like traps and different, like you were missing this key to this door, you can go find it, and where you have to like solve a riddle, and it's all a coherent experience, and it might take the player more than an entire day, so they'll have to leave and come back to finish the dungeon, and then there's like a boss at the end, or maybe there's like a mini boss in the middle that drops a key to the door or something like that. Yeah, there will be dungeons in 2.0 that will be in the game, and players will be able to explore, and there will be rewards. Like, of course, there will be rewards. Like in Zelda games, typically the reward for beating a dungeon is 1, you get to progress the storyline, 2, you get a heart container, and 3, you get a new weapon. And well, the heart containers aren't a thing, and new weapons, I could possibly make that happen in the terms of like magical artifacts, and that player will learn like magic and be able to gain new abilities with each dungeon that they complete. But there's no heart containers, but I have some interesting ideas to supplement the heart container thing, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, there will be dungeons complete with all sorts of fun stuff for players to experience.
So here's a funny one from a funny name. Sexy Legs asks, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal?
Yeah.
I actually strangely kind of like raccoons a lot.
Oh.
I don't know why. I call them trash pandas.
Yeah. Novostellum asks, is there going to be more Sandy content in 2.0?
Yes. And I haven't decided yet, but I might make her a marriage candidate at some point.
Oh,
I have some interesting ideas.
that
They
could be
are
fun.
very lengthy ideas, and it will take a very long time to develop. But I always have lots of ideas. Just I just wish I had more time to develop them. But that's something. What I like so much about what I do is that I always have projects. I always have stuff to work on. I just really enjoy keeping myself busy. So that is possibly something that you can see in the future, because I know that she's also a requested character, and she will have an expanded role in 2.0.
That's great, because I mean she is from there, so it makes sense. Goliggy Baby asked, what are your creative inspirations in general? Again, mahalo both for your content. Mahalo to you.
Creative inspirations.
In general,
well,
yeah.
I like going on r/pixel art on Reddit, and people have all sorts of cool stuff there that I get inspired by. And I've said it before, like I like playing video games, and you get a lot of ideas from games that you play. And I mean, look at how Stardew Valley was made by Concerned Ape. This game exists because Harvest Moon exists, and Concerned Ape got a lot of his inspiration from Harvest Moon to create Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
So I guess you can say I get a lot of my inspiration from just being myself and being a gamer.
I get a lot of my ideas from just the massive library of wacky nonsense I've watched, and I'm always listening to different accents as well, because I'm just very naturally interested in accents, and your brain is a sponge, and your art reflects everything you absorb. Usually,
Right.
let's see. Let's find some more. A lot of these questions have been covered. A funny one from Mr. Google: will Clint always be forever alone?
Stardew Valley Expanded does add content to Clint. It's not the content that I feel like some players would have like expected or wanted for like his character arc, but Clint is, in my view, a bit of a controversial character. I feel like if I add this or if I take this away or if I change that to him, it's risky because of who he is. And if I do want to ward him towards the light, like it will fundamentally change his character and things like that.
Yes.
And it really goes back to like what I said before during this interview is I don't think every character needs a happy ending. And that's what makes all these characters in this game memorable, because they're like real people. And there are lots of people in real life that do not get that happy ending. And that's just like one of the sad realities of life.
Yeah.
And I feel like Stardew Valley does a really good job portraying that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important to maintain that. But that's not to say like, something won't happen in the future if I come up with like a good idea. It kind of like circles back like that, like people wanting Morris to be in town in the community center route. He friend him enough, like he stays in town, but it's like, I just can't think of a good reason why Morris would stay in town, because he's lost everything. He hates everyone here. Why would he stay in Pelican Town? He also lives in the city, so it's just like really hard coming up with a story that doesn't seem forced, if you get what I mean.
But at least you can have Morris live in town in the Joja route, and it does make sense if you explore that.
Yeah. In fact, I think someone else is actually working on a mod that's going to allow that, and I actually gave them Morris's townhouse asset so they can make that into a reality. So if players want that, there is a mod being developed by someone else that will do that. And they're using my house for that.
If you want Morris in town, it can be done. Let's see, we've got a few left here. Altavi von Falcon asks, can we marry Scarlet soon? Or the next update? Is that planned?
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to marry Scarlet. Possibly, yeah. I know there's definitely like some Scarlet fans out there, and I have some fun ideas for like her 10 heart and her 14 heart. All in due time. Like I know players like just want to marry everyone in this game when it comes down to it. But possibly she will be possibly.
Tilted Elf wants to know if you plan to go beyond the formula with hard events and maybe go as high as 17 hearts.
17 hearts.
That sounds a bit crazy.
I haven't thought about that. I know like 14 hearts at one point did not exist, but that's mainly for marriage candidates. When it comes to Castle Village characters, some characters in particular will be friending them will be very different in that you can't just shower them with gifts to raise their friendship. You will actually have to complete quest lines and things like that to progress their stories, and you will unlock friendship with them by doing that. But it's all like it's just like it's just ideas, and we'll see where it all goes.
Sekio Shinohara asks, starts out by saying, so glad Olivia is a marriage candidate. I've always wanted older spouses. Is there plans to add more older dateable NPCs?
Yep.
That's 2.0 onwards, I'm imagining.
Might be sooner. I have some things cooking up that I'm working on.
Oh.
We'll see though.
There you go. Very direct answer.
I know, like, especially when it comes to male bachelors, like, players want older marriage candidates, and that is something that's on my plan book. Stardew Valley Expanded already does add 6 marriage candidates and 1 new roommate option. So there's plenty of options already.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know anything about me, I just can't really like stop working on this mod because I love it so much, and I'm like borderline addicted, just working on it all the time. Like I I just have a lot of fun, and I'm very passionate about everything that I create. And with the help of folks on my team, we can really make anything. Like, it doesn't matter if I don't have portrait art skills. It doesn't matter if I can't program. We can make anything happen, and there will be lots more to come.
Grease Gun asks, are there any possibilities in the next big update to make the farmers' children more useful?
I feel like that's something Concerned Ape really needs to handle himself if he wants to do that. That's pretty complicated to do. I think there are some mods that attempt that players can install and download now. I think there's like one mod called Child to NPC.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an option for players to install in their playthroughs, and they can get that kind of content if they want it.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with modding children. I've thought about doing it because, like, I thought about telling the story of Napoleon and Hamish's children. They both have daughters, so
right.
That's something I've wanted to do. There's a lot involved in that, though. There's quite a lot of mods, but yeah, basically, if you can think about it, there's probably already a mod out there. Like you said, you want more Morris. Flash knows somebody who's doing that with some of the townhouse assets. Children, you can find that in modding as well. So now we've gone through our saved questions. We can actually go to live questions. So if anybody wants to have their questions read out live, you can still ask more questions if you want to. Let me just check to see if there's any here. I think we're up to date, unless anybody wants to ask any real-time questions right now. There's a little bit of a delay with YouTube, so we have to let it catch up a bit. I won't get an instant response. In the meantime, we could change the date and then go and see Hamish on the roof. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Just turn it to the 9th today, and we'll wake up on the 10th. We'll do that in the meantime. You can share the giant polyamorous bed.
You stay over on that side. I'll be on this side. Oh no, it's not gonna let me.
You're gonna wake up with Lance.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I have to get this close to you. Okay, we're doing this.
You have to breathe in Hamish's night breath. Do you want to have a baby with Lance? Not now.
While I'm in the bed with you,
oh
are you out of your mind?
Oh, I should have said yes. We could have named the kid Flash.
I'd say get a room, but technically I have my own cabin, so I should be in my own cabin. So you guys can do your own business. I can leave if you want.
Oh god, that would happen.
I didn't sleep well last night.
Lance was very busy.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. We just had some questions come in. As we'll head over there and I'll scroll through these.
Sure thing.
Oh, bushes have spawned. I imagine you've just got a cutscene.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of cutscenes. I wonder why these bushes are here.
I've seen this recently. They pop up every now and then. I have destroyed bushes on, so I tend to get rid of them. Sophia hanging out here. Near the glorious mayor statue. Everybody's in the chat is laughing about the Lance baby situation.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Stardew Valley Expanded with Grandpa's Farm actually adds some backstory to that Lewis statue.
Oh, yeah?
But you have to play on Grandpa's Farm to get that.
Oh. I might actually have my new character, Karen, play on that, because I was going to use her as a way to do some beginner's guides. Because I feel like people are quite intimidated by the size of the mod.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. This is weird. Yep. Oh. Oh, he's invisible on my screen. This guy. He's not here. That's weird. Well, this guy's here.
It might be because I'm a farm hand and I haven't seen all the events yet. Multiplayer modding is very hard. It'll get better once 1.6 is released. There'll be a lot more stability.
Yeah, so if you want to see Hamish and you are Joja Farmer, you can. This is one of 3 cameos. The other 2 were a complete surprise to me. The Abigail cutscene. He pops up in a pet shop. He pops up in Sophia's 14 Heart, and here. Twice a season. It's very surreal. We got me, you, yourself, the creator, the character, and the character's cameo all in one place. Never thought this would actually happen. Very weird. Let me see if I can pull up a question. Would you ever possibly consider making Gunther a marriage candidate? Love the heart events with him.
I actually have, like, I know I kind of want to make 2 more vanilla characters marriage candidates. I kind of want to make Sandy a marriage candidate because she's a vanilla character, and I have some fun ideas for her character development. And I know that a lot of people want older bachelors, and Gunther definitely falls in that boat. And yeah, I've definitely considered it. I feel like he would need more portraits though, like more portrait variation. So like he doesn't just have like the portrait where his hand's always out holding down his hat. Like there would need to be some serious work with the portrait art of him. But yeah, I've definitely considered it. And regardless of not if I make him a marriage candidate, he will be getting more heart events in the future.
Is there plans for a quest line? This is from Here. Where you have to gather up with adventurers across the world, maybe to kill something / find something that endangers the world.
I can't really comment on that.
Whoop. Are any Highlands expansions changes coming for 2.0 from
I'm
Stone?
actually going to be adding more content to Fable Reef and the Highlands before 2.0.
Nice. Yeah, so that's a yes to that one, Nova. This is a funny question from Sexy Legs again. How much do you bench? A question for Turin also.
How much can I bench?
I don't know. I mean, like, I used to use a pretty intense dumbbell workout, and I used to put push-ups into that. Push-ups are hard. I can bench myself.
Last time I checked, I could bench 2 marshmallows. I'm working up to getting up to 3, though. I'm trying to like take a page off of SpongeBob's book.
Do you ever try to do push-ups? Because push-ups are an excellent way to work on that upper body strength.
Yeah, Alex is a good person to speak to with like form check and things like that.
I can do 20 push-ups. I think. Been a while though. Sopal was asking if... Oh no, that's for somebody in chat. Do you enjoy using the diverse Stardew mods? I've never used them. Have you perhaps used them, Flash?
When it comes to portrait mods, I use Poltergeister's Seasonal Cute Villager Outfits mod for seasonal outfits and stuff like that. Because she's the same artist that makes the portrait art for this mod.
Yes, I've used that.
I'm gonna no clip out of this building.
Lovely mod. Yeah, we can work somewhere else. Shortcut. We could go on the top of Morris's house. Unless you think
yeah, I guess we could.
It's nice up there.
Yeah, it's funny enough, just yesterday I actually went over to a friend's townhouse and we actually had some barbecue on top of his townhouse's roof.
That's nice.
Yeah. Like this townhouse design from Morris is like really inspired by like actual townhouse designs.
I love it.
There's several houses in my neighborhood that kind of look like this one actually. I didn't like completely rip the design from them though. Like it's still unique, but it's a townhouse.
Amos in Development is using Super Chat to say just say hello. Well, hello to you. Thanks for coming.
Hello there. Yeah, thank you.
LED says, I've moved a bench a few inches to the left when it was placed a bit off center.
That doesn't count. I can move benches too.
Angel Knight would like to know, where did this Seattle heat wave come from?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be 90 degrees tomorrow, and then the next day it's falling down to like 67. What's up with that? That's insane. That's like I'm gonna go swimming. Like I kind of live near alki, and
Oh,
it's like a really
nice.
nice beach there. So probably gonna go swimming.
I have not been
That
swimming
should be
in a
nice.
good few years now, thanks to COVID, and I really need to.
Yeah, salt water is like really good for your skin. So
We've got another super chat from Uni. Thank you, Turin and Flash, for the interview and all the insight into SVE. Thank you, Uni, for helping out with gathering the questions as well.
yeah, I hope all of you have learned some new things about me, and you guys got to learn about the inner workings of how I created this mod, and the people I work with that I hold very dear to me, and future content that you can all expect, and new projects such as my own video game that I'm working on with my best friend. Like, there's no shortage of projects that I have. I wake up every day and I really get to do what I love. And it's because of all of your support, really. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for everything, really. I wouldn't be here today without you guys. So thank you.
Yes, thanks. You can keep supporting Flash via his Patreon. Or just by being a community member. You can join the Reddit, you can join the Discord to stay in the loop. Lots of help on those platforms as well. Here Zaki is asking if you would ever make SVE official with Concerned Ape, if that became an option. I don't know how realistic that is, but
no, I feel like it's best if Stardew Valley Expanded remains as a completely separate project because, to be honest, vanilla Stardew Valley is perfect as it is. Like, look how it impacted me. Look how it impacted you. Look how it impacted everyone here. We're here right now talking about some mod project because of vanilla Stardew Valley and the impact that it had on all of us. Stardew Valley doesn't need content from other content creators, and besides, I really love that Stardew Valley is just made by Concerned Ape, solo guy. And I really feel like that is what makes Stardew Valley so special and really makes it stand out from other games, because it's made by one person who has the passion and vision to carry everything out. And you see what kind of experiences we have. And I feel like if you start mixing and matching lots of people, I feel like you might lose some of that magic. So no, I don't think I don't think Stardew Valley Expanded should ever become something that's official.
Lovely Phoenix has used Super Chat. I think I must not have Super Chat alerts enabled, which isn't so bad for this because they are quite noisy. Even though I had them muted. I must have them turned off. But Lovely Phoenix is very excited to see the future updates. Me too. I mean, I will be covering everything that happens with the mod in the future. It's always really fun to do. Very excited for Castle Village content. A funny question from Zero Me is, what is the best Star Wars movie and why is it Episode 8?
Do not get me started on episode 8. You know what you're doing, Zero. I know why you're here. First off, best Star Wars movie, Rogue One, without a doubt. Like, that is a very good movie. I love Rogue One.
You hurt me.
And
you hurt
I
me,
also
Flash.
really like Mandalorian. But episode 8, it just breaks too many rules in the Star Wars universe for me to consider it canon. It can't exist for the other movies to exist. And the other movies existed before it. And they were made by George Lucas, the godfather of Star Wars. Like, and I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it are like, can't go wrong with classic Star Wars. Good place to start. Love The Mandalorian. People ask, if you were asking me if I'm a Star Wars fan, I would say no. I'm a Mandalorian fan.
For this game, by the
yes,
way.
there is.
Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian, I think they live at the bus stop. Like, literally, they're NPCs. You can go on Nexus Mods right now, and you can have Mando and Baby Yoda in your game.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a mod showcase live stream soon, and that's gonna be one of them. I'm gonna put Baby Yoda and Mando in the game. That'll be fun. See Hamish in the same place as them. Yeah, Star Wars, very controversial. Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, really like that.
Yeah, Star Wars Rebels was good. My partner and I, we watched through all of it. We did skip all of the filler episodes, though. We had an episode guide, and we skipped every single filler episode. And if you skip all the filler episodes, it's pretty good.
I actually just loved the
kinda
whole
like
thing.
Rebels.
I watched the whole thing and I was just really impressed with it.
Yeah.
Definitely a Mandalorian fan first, though. Like, that one episode of the Book of Boba Fett is like, oof, that was some meaty Star Wars in the way that I like it. That was the only redeeming element of Boba Fett, I think, was the Mandalorian chunks. Let's see, any more questions to look through? Mouse friend loves Rogue One too. I don't like Rogue One.
Don't like Rogue One? Well, this interview's over. See ya.
I watched it with a he's gone. I watched it with a family member and we were bored. Like, bored stiff and very confused as to why we were bored.
Well, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their own views and opinions, and that's honestly one of the ways how you can get really cool media and content. So, more power to you.
This has become a Star Wars stream now. There's many Star Wars things in the chat. I didn't hate episode 7. It was great, but it was decent and looked good. 8 and 9 are abominations.
Do you want to go swimming at Sprite Spring?
Yes, let's do that.
I'm going to cheat and just work there.
All right.
I know all these coordinates from the back of my palm.
He cancelled me, lol. Says go like a baby.
If you can control the time, Sprite Spring looks really nice when it's nighttime.
Okay. Ooh,
there we go.
Nice.
Yeah. This is actually a remaster of the original map that I made a long time ago. I felt like it was too clunky and big, and I feel like my map design over time modding Stardew Valley has gotten a lot better. So, like, if like anyone's like, you know, been a Stardew Valley Expanded player for a while, like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I've really gone back and I've completely overhauled new locations.
Lovely Phoenix agrees with me. Rogue One was really boring. But I love how this becomes such a hot topic, Star Wars these days. It's like, I kind of agree. The ninth one was an abomination. I was stunned by the Rise of Skywalker. I couldn't believe how bad it was. Is your character blushing? What is happening?
I'm squinting at you because my character does not appreciate what you're saying. I think so. I don't know. This is the swim code. The game thinks you're in a spa.
Yeah.
So
very relaxing.
Yeah, you know, it's now that you mention it, why do the character sprites squint like this? Actually, because with this frame you close your eyes completely, but the side frames you're glaring at someone. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Question for both of us: do you guys have a favorite show or show that you're watching currently? I have so many shows that I love, but I keep watching The Office.
Office is pretty good.
I'm in an Office state of mind at the moment. If you love The Office, there's a podcast ran by the actor who plays Kevin. And he has it's kind of a one-season podcast. It's finished now, where he talks about the making of The Office. It's called An Oral History of The Office. Apart from that, I think I've recently been watching Obi-Wan, which we both agree was a little bit of a letdown. Not the worst, but a bit of a letdown. Am I watching anything else? I was watching God, I've forgotten. Moon Knight when it came out. Getting very close there, Flash. Any TV shows that you're watching at the moment?
At the moment, so Keychain actually recommended Amphibia, and my partner and I are watching that right now. It's pretty good.
Amphibia?
Yeah, Amphibia. in terms of like shows that I've really enjoyed in the past. Like, yeah, I've seen all The Office. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I've seen Game of Thrones. The last season was definitely
Oof.
a letdown. Everything else is pretty good though, but that latest season was just like a big oof. And it's so funny because, like, speaking of Star Wars, those directors wanted to work on Star Wars and they rushed through Game of Thrones to work on it.
And they didn't get it.
They didn't get it because of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Star Wars. Will it ever? Well, one of my big issues with Star Wars is they just don't very well define how the Force works. Seems to just suit the situation, and like what I want is like a really good rules set attributed to how it works, and then also a much better definition of how the dark side and light side work. Because at this point, it almost feels like the dark side is like, I feel like being a dick, and my eyes are yellow. It's not very well done.
Yeah, I feel like the Force with like the new Disney series and films are kind of used more as a writing tool now to like do things in the plot, and I feel like they can be better about it than what they're currently doing.
Does anyone actually like the British Office? Yes, but the thing about the British Office was it was terrifically short. It was like this.
Is there something behind this? What is this?
I don't know. A secret cave.
Whoa, what? Impossible. A secret cave. I didn't know this existed
filled with
at
goodies.
all. Wow, ancient fruit, mushrooms. Wow, what a cool secret.
Wow. Whoever made this game knew what they were mod knew what they were doing.
I mean, how can you have waterfalls in a game and not have a secret under a waterfall? Am I right? Like, you have to have secret waterfalls, okay?
Wow, there's some of these questions coming in are like quite funny. Where's that one?
Probably want to move off of the Star Wars topic now. I think we've dwindled on it for too long.
Yeah, this isn't a Stardew stream. A Star Wars stream, even though Stardew Star. This one's funny. What's your favorite Empire Strikes Back movie?
My favorite. I don't understand the question.
It's a trick question.
I mean, Empire Strikes Back is a good movie. Nothing. That asteroid chase scene was incredible. Like, I will never forget seeing that for the first time as a kid.
Oh, Leonardo did not know about the cave. Yes, there's a secret behind the cave.
That's apologies for the spoiler there.
Dance like Hinata in the water. Reference I don't get. There's an argument about Star Wars versus Star Trek ships. We're talking about Star Trek now. This is digital carbide. Star is in the name. There's enough of a connection, apparently.
They do both have star in their titles. That is true.
Yeah.
But one's about like battles and the other is about exploration. So there's a difference between wars and trek. So I feel like it's very fitting.
Checking through my questions to see if there's any.
Yeah, sure.
I think we're all done on my end for questions. We got some more here. I don't know if this was already answered, but who's your favorite Stardew Valley character? Mine's Haley. I'm very much in the sophisticated, highbrow, we know best Stardew group of people of like, you think you know Haley, you don't know Haley. She has the best story. The most.
I really like Abigail. She's definitely my favorite.
I've never gotten into Abigail because of the whole kind of like cliched. I'm an adventure gamer girl.
I mean, can't you say that about like literally any NPC? Because every NPC is based off of a stereotype if you think about it.
It's just that particular stereotype that put me off, but she is cool. Like I have warmed to her. When I was a kid, I was entranced by a resort river pool that had a waterfall with a bar underneath. Of course, I was too young though. Okay, cool story.
We should go to the Secret Woods, by the way, and check that
Oh,
out.
yeah,
I don't think we
yeah.
walked there yet.
Let's do that.
I'll meet you there.
Secret Woods is a fun new addition. Question for both of us. What's your favorite area in Stardew Valley or Expanded? I think in base Stardew Valley.
And my favorite area in base Stardew Valley is definitely Pelican Town. Like, that's where all the NPCs are.
Yeah.
And I just like, I like Pelican Town's small rural feel to it. It really makes it feel like a small community with like really interesting dynamics there. And my favorite expanded location, that's a hard one. Probably Enchanted Grove. I really like the warp area map a lot. It's actually my favorite quest line that I developed for the mod. It took me a very long time to make it, but I got it done. And when you complete your nexus and you have all your warp points, it's just really cool just like sitting there and feel like a magician. It feels very magical, and Enchanted Grove there will be more warp points added in 2.0 where players can warp to even more locations, but they're not in Stardew Valley.
In base game I have always liked the desert quite a lot. I've never really
Calico Desert, yeah.
Never really thought about. I think I just love everything in Stardew Valley, so I don't think it's one place I love the most. But if I had to pick, probably the desert. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite map. Like I honestly love all the maps and all the locations. Every map has like a unique feel to it, and you add all these maps together, and that's how you get a world.
Yeah. Stardew Valley Expanded, I quite like. First Slash is Guildhall and the island.
Yeah, the first Slash island is actually kind of inspired by Dragon Ball Z. The Kami house is like a house in the middle of like a island in the middle of the ocean. I'm like, that's actually kind of a cool idea for like a secret guild organization to be. So that's kind of inspired by Dragon Ball Z, in that it's just sitting on a small island in the middle of the ocean. But I want to add I want to make it look very pretty, so I added coral reefs to it. And the guild hall for the first Slash itself is actually inspired by the Witcher series. I really like the Witcher's guild hall. How you have fireplace in the middle of the room with like long tables. And there's no design like that in Stardew Valley, so I decided to go with that for the interior design at least. And also, The Witcher is actually one of my favorite series, by the way, too. I really enjoyed watching it, and the games were great.
The Witcher 3 is my favorite game.
Yeah, it's a good game, and I think it's like the 8th topmost modded game on Nexus. There's a lot of mods. They have their entire other modding community, just like how Stardew Valley has its modding community.
Do you actually like Lance as a character, or did the community bully you into expanding his character?
Well, Lance I wasn't thinking Lance would be a full NPC, and players really took a liking to him, so I made him an actual character with a story and everything, and I feel like he's been pretty well received.
Yeah.
And if you're a big Lance fan, you may notice that Lance does not have a 14 heart event yet. He has a 12 heart, but not a 14, and that will be something that will be coming at some point. I have some special plans for that.
Oh, by the way, Cyberhano, I wasn't joking. I did think your story was a fun story. I wasn't trying to take the mick out of you, because I noticed you replied to that. Somebody screamed Care Moorhen in the chat. I love The Witcher 3. I was playing Stardew and The Witcher 3 at the same time. More or less when they came out, and yeah, both big favorites of mine. I'm probably going to stream a Witcher 3 playthrough when I go back to Twitch eventually. Love that game.
You want to go get lost in a maze? Let's go to the, why don't we go to the Junima Woods?
Yes. Oh, we could.
The entrance to it.
I can't go there because of Joja.
Oh wait, that's right. You're a Joja route player. Yeah, so there's like really specific content depending on what route you're playing. It's funny because like I can actually debug warp there. What's this right here?
Cyros, what our
feature
least
printing.
favorite Stardew characters are.
I mean, everyone has like favorite characters and characters that they don't like. I don't necessarily hate any characters. There are definitely some characters I don't like. I don't want to like say which ones, but I recognize that they're still important. Like, it's not that they're like poorly written or anything like that. I just don't like them as a person, and that means Concerned Ape did something right there because I don't like them, and that's okay.
I don't like Shane. I dislike Shane a lot. I think he's terrible, and I think it's very concerning how many people want to fix him. We'll get too deep into
hear
it.
that a lot.
Pierre, it's not so much hatred, but just the fact that people rather mistakenly swear blind to do the community route, and at the same time enable a Jeff Bezos wannabe in the process. It's like Pierre's
Right.
not a black and white good character. He's very flawed.
Isn't there like a subreddit dedicated to
Yep.
people that do not like Pierre? I'm not gonna
One for Clint as well.
say it. Oh, there's one for Clint too.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
People dislike them a lot. Lance was a refreshing character. I was getting tired of the old bachelors. Yes, he's much more preferable to most of the bachelors. He's a real interesting gent. Shane fulfills the savior complex in all of us. True. I dislike Shane as well. Wow, never met another person who did. Yeah, I quite honestly don't like Shane. Marissa dreams of dethroning and exposing Lewis. That would be fun. Might be a mod out there. There's a mod that I looked at where you can tell everyone about his relationship with Marnie.
Well, if you play the Joja route, you can kind of do that.
Yeah, play the Joja route if you want to dethrone Lewis. If you want to oust him, check that out.
Oh, we're just hanging out here at 11 a.m. You see, Turin, this is what happens if you mess with time during a multiplayer modded session. Yeah, you glitch all the characters. That's probably why we've experienced all these glitches, actually.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be skipping time during multiplayer.
For me, yeah, Haley and Claire. I do like Camilla, though. I'm also
actually,
wondering...
let's go to the Adventure Summit. Let me go there.
Yeah, that's a good map.
Haven't gone there yet. I really enjoyed making that map a lot. Kind of struggled with the original design at first because I didn't want to make the Adventure Summit too big because, like, look, what I'm already doing right here is horrible. There's no mines entrance, and a lot of players have been like, "Oh my god, you're making me walk an additional 15 seconds to the mines." and I'm like, "I'm sorry, but like, I don't know, it's just so like I had to add a config so players can get the original mines entrance back if they want it there. I actually just got a cutscene with Standing Gill, so I'm invisible at the moment.
Did you see the video I did of that when I was like, Standing Gill, and like really overplayed it?
A lot of people have made a big deal about Gil standing, and it's like a lot of people thought that he was just like bounded to a chair, but he can walk. Like, how do you think he gets to the movie theater? Like, he definitely walked over there himself and just sat on a chair.
Yeah.
So that leads to the precedent that he can walk around. So
we'll get a question about Grambleton. Any plans for it? I don't know if you're aware of this, Skelly Bunny, but you can already go to Grambleton.
yeah, you can go to the Grambleton suburbs, but it's locked behind friending Sophia to 8 hearts.
You get Sophia to 8 hearts, and then you'll get a cutscene with Scarlet, which will then allow you to get a train there, right?
Yeah, you can use the train at the train station.
It's we actually did a live stream on that. If you want to check that out, we did a Scarlet content live stream not too long ago. That was a lot of fun. That live stream, Joja Man turned up. Mouse friend really loves Sophia.
Yeah, I know. Sophia's a.
Oh
she's a
no,
pretty
Olivia.
popular character.
Sorry, Olivia really loves Olivia.
She's also a pretty popular character.
Yeah. I'm surprised sometimes the guild can stand. We all are.
Standing
It somewhat
guild.
scares me, says Arissa. Standing girl. Crampleton has the best orange chicken, says Uni. Yeah, I actually really like this map. It's nice that the Adventurers Guild has its own area. Feels right.
Yeah, like in Stardew Valley Expanded in the early versions, the Adventurers Guild was actually located in town, but I moved it because I was trying to build some more narratives, and it's just like kind of weird having some wizards and mages from other lands coming to the guild in the middle of town in Stardew Valley. I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It didn't make much sense narratively speaking. So I moved the Adventure Guild far away from town, which it already kind of was in vanilla.
Yes.
But I wanted to go further than just like relocating it back to the mountains. So I made an entire new map just for the guild, and that's where we are. And it is a little bit of a farther trek, but as soon as you unlock the mine cards, it's really not that bad.
Ray,
It's a little rough in the beginning of the game, though.
Ray is asking if you have any plans to expand the Fern Islands, like having more islands to go to. Well, there's already one island already, technically. The first / Guildhole Island.
Maybe. That might be something I do when I add some more content to Fable Reef, but in terms of like modding Ginger Island, I don't feel like it really needs that much. Like, I guess I could like redesign the maps, but I don't feel like that's a good use of my time. I feel like Ginger Island's already pretty well done already as itself. The only thing, in my opinion, that was kind of missing from Ginger Island were coral reefs. It's like tropical, but there's no coral reefs. So I made some pretty big tile sheets, and I added coral reefs to all the water around the island to make it, more pretty. So
I
in a
love
way,
that.
I have kind of added some content, and you meet Lance at Ginger Island, so that's kind of where he's from.
Oh, so Pal, you can if there's a question you feel I missed, you can just re-ask it. Anybody can re-ask a question if they missed it. There's a lot going on, so it's hard to track all the questions. Just ask away.
I'm really happy to answer like any questions. Like, it's like this is my very first time talking with you guys, first time ever. So not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous coming into this, but I'm having a really good time, and I hope all of you guys are having a good time too. Thank you guys for being here, and let's answer some more questions, shall we?
Yeah. You have leading and controversial questions, Digital Carbide says, that I've missed. Well, let's hear them. Leading and controversial questions. I can't remember seeing any. If Kent's a normal soldier, why do people have war with guns instead of magic in the game? That's more of a Concerned Ape question, because I was like, how do you balance having magic, swords and magical creatures as content, but then you've got a soldier with PTSD from a possible very realistic war in the same world?
Well, I have some ideas.
Yeah, fire away.
I mean, you guys have seen Howl's Moving Castle, right? They literally have soldiers fighting by wizards in that movie. And soldiers are literally cannon fodder in that universe, unfortunately, because they're grunts. And this is a fact. And in Vanilla Stardew Valley, it's a Vincent event on the beach where he's like, I heard the news, our soldiers are getting cut down by the thousands. And I'm like, wow, that is a heavy toll all at once. There must be some insane things happening across the world in that war. And I think it's because of mages. Like, mages and magic users are the ones dealing a lot of the damage, because in Howl's Moving Castle, that's the way it is. And same thing with like The Witcher. Like in The Witcher, you have mages with your armies too, and they're like your queen and king chess pieces. And then you have all your pawns, your soldiers. Now, that's not explicitly said in the lore of the game, but I like logically thinking, I think that's how it goes down, and that just makes sense to me, at least.
I think you're onto something there, because he references Howl's Moving Castle in the game. Chances are he did imagine war like that.
And that's how 2.0 will imagine the wars too. It'll expand on that quite a bit.
Ah, great. I like that.
We'll learn more.
That's quite a dimension to the game there. Would Flash? This is from Sopal. Would Flash allow other modders to build upon his expanded Pelican Town, sort of an SVE extended? Not sure what that means.
I already do. People have already made lots of mods that expand it. Like have you heard like the Penny Gets a House mod? It's made by a fellow clown. Like Penny gets a house, and she gets her own house, like in Pelican Town. Like that's a mod, for example. There's other mods that add new NPCs to Pelican Town. I already do that, and when it comes to like compatibility and like people using assets from my mod, I'm genuinely very lenient about that, and I'm really cool with. I just want to see people create, and the way I look at it is, Concerned Ape is okay with people modding his game, and my mod is very popular, and I feel like it's also kind of like my duty to have that same outward look on that, where I should be okay with people doing that too. Like I just told you, like there's a modder that wants to add Morris, as he keep Morris here in the valley if you do the community center route, and I gave them Morris's townhouse asset to do that.
That sounds very cool. I like that mod.
I'm pretty cool with all of that. Just talk to me, and if you don't talk to me, you do it anyway. It's not like I'm gonna come after you or anything like that. I've actually never come after a single person for anything, really.
Well, there you go. You can, if you would like to do something like that, you can.
I just like creating content for my favorite game in the world, and I just like to keep it at that. To be honest.
Where are we at? Do you have a favorite Stardew Valley modder? Digital Carbine was asking, I believe.
Of course I do. People on my team. That might be a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's true. Like the modders on my team really are my best friends, and I trust them.
So you're gonna go back a little bit. Where do Stardew Valley babies come from, Turin? I don't know. Sometimes you adopt them.
Maybe the witch drops them off on the front porch. I don't know.
Yeah. From some cursed place that wants to block your path in the game. What's Claire's shoe size? Sexy legs.
Up to you.
She's got.
That is up to you.
She's got massive feet, size 12.
Oh my gosh.
She'll stomp you.
Yeah, I try to avoid questions like, "Oh, how old are the NPCs? How tall are they? What's their shoe size and things like that? What's their favorite color?" I try to leave these things up to player interpretation.
Does Lance have a surname? Asks Erisa Arts.
Maybe.
Yeah, we kind of went over that earlier. If it's not blindly stated, it is kind of left up to you. Blatantly stated. Who has the best chicken nuggets? 0 meters. Oh god.
You can't make meat products in Stardew Valley. That was actually content that was ripped out pretty early from player feedback.
I believe anyone who makes plant-based chicken nuggets, go to them. Where else should we go now?
I guess we can go to sleep, make it daytime, and
it is daytime.
Walk around more. Oh wait, it is daytime. You're messing with time again.
I'm controlling
Are you a time traveling wizard by any chance?
Time traveling elf. That was part of my backstory. My character backstory. Turin was a time traveling elf. I used to play various games with a bad internet connection, and people used to joke that I was like a time traveler, blinking in and out of existence. Oh, that's not right. Oh wait, no, that is right. That's the Joja movie theater.
Hmm.
Oh, it was a suggestion for me. Would it be possible to put Claire's movie on rotation?
You got to progress Claire's storyline, and you'll see why she doesn't. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much about her character.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'll have to ask you about that afterwards.
Okay.
Because I know she has. I'll ask you about it after. Do you both enjoy fishing in the game? I don't, but for some reason it's always the one that is higher. I actually really do enjoy fishing in the game. I got really into it with employee number 54. Is his story?
I enjoy fishing, but I feel like Stardew Valley Expanded fishing with like Keychain and I working together to add all these new fish. You might hate fishing because some of these fish are very difficult to catch. But if you can manage to catch like 10 of them and put them in a fish pond, you will be rewarded quite well. I actually have unique fish pond code for each individual Stardew Valley Expanded fish, and I really tried my best to like balance them and to make sure each fish that Stardew Valley Expanded adds is that they're implementing unique produce and mechanics that vanilla fish don't already cover. And that's also inherent with like the fish design and like when I I'll pitch an idea to Keychain for a new fish, and because I've already thought about these things like ahead of time.
Yeah, I do enjoy the fishing. I mean, it's a nice challenge to have the additional fish from your mod as well. Fun. A lot of people don't like it, but I think there's a real challenge to it. There's a good, strong game mechanic there for the more difficult fish.
Sophia's treating me as if I've never met her before, so she's like, "Eek, a stranger." I'm like, "Oh gosh, I'm so sorry."
In my home. So tell me the story again about how you got my mermaid pendant.
Well, it's a really weird guy sold it to me on the beach in the rain. Romantic, huh?
Yeah, it's very romantic. Like, imagine that actual conversation with like your spouse. Like, yeah, I kind of just like bought it from like a dude on the beach. It was like raining, and the weather was really bad, and it was just like this guy selling like marriage items. So and I was thinking about you at the time, so I decided, why not? That's probably how that conversation would go down.
Ellie Deer says,
let's walk around Sinterstaff Forest, the
sure.
expanded bit again.
Ellie Deer says, thank you so much for the very profitable custom fish flash.
Yeah, they are definitely, some of them definitely are worth quite a bit, but you do have to be a good angler to catch them.
Let me check to see if there's any other questions. Is the expansion of Pelican Town considered finished? Are there any plans for new areas? Does Castle Village get the full focus now?
Full focus is not Castle Village. It is most of the focus, but I can't write off that Pelican Town's done or anything really is done. Like, I think, honestly, I'm always going to be adding to the mod. It's like it's my huge passion project, and I just want to keep adding to it. And I don't want to go into like too many things here, but I do have some other ideas, but I don't want to spoil you guys.
So we can say no, it's not done.
I mean, is Concern Ape ever done with his game?
No.
He keeps adding to it.
He keeps it loose, doesn't he? He hasn't definitively gone, you're done. I like that about him.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Arif Saki says, thank you both for doing the interview. Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've learned a lot.
Yeah, it's what I really hope for all of you guys that tuned in. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about myself for like 3 hours. That's quite a while. This was only supposed to last 2 hours. We went way overboard. So
I kind of anticipated
pretty soon.
Yeah, 3 hours is the good number.
Yeah, I hope that you guys have learned new things about me, and you guys have gained some insight around how Stardew Valley Expanded was created by me. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in and supporting me. And I like this, like things like this, having this strong sense of community behind my project really does inspire me to keep at it. And it's like one of the main reasons why I think I will continue working on it. because of all of your support. So thank you. Down to the bottom of my heart. Like, really, thank you.
Yeah, same for me too. Thanks for tuning in and watching my stuff. If you're a returning viewer, maybe you'll subscribe and check out. We look at some dark stuff on this channel. If you want Stardew Valley Expanded content covered, I got you. You want to see some dark stuff from Stardew Valley? I also got you. So, well, thanks for including me in the mod by putting this horrible character Hamish, who somehow managed to stay quietly.
You paid me to shut up for the entire stream. Don't bait me, Turin.
Yeah, thanks for putting him in the mod. Anyway, it's a nice surprise to see him. I'm sure there's some people out there that love seeing him in the game.
It's a very, very small cameo that most players wouldn't make much of. So it's like the perfect way to do a cameo.
Yes, that's the way cameo should be, like little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
People, a lot of thank yous in the chat now. Learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you guys again. Really, this was a lot of fun, and maybe in the future I'll do something like this in the future. Maybe we'll see. I'm not sure what we would talk about. I could talk about Star Wars all day though, so don't get me started on that.
Oh god, if I ever make a Star Wars
stream.
if I ever make a Star Wars channel, because I've been very tempted, we'll definitely could do a podcast. I could invite you on. I have so much to say about Star Wars. Sometimes it's too much. Why do we care about Star Wars so much? I don't know. Same reason we care about Stardew Valley, I guess. There's something special in there.
It's a really awesome space opera, basically. So it's a huge piece of media.
So if you ever want to get help with Stardew Valley Expanded, use the Reddit, use the Discord. Discord's one of the better places. I think you can get some direct help there. You can stay in... Flash, you communicate a lot on the Discord and the Reddit, I believe, if that's correct.
Yeah, I check the Stardew Valley subreddit every day. I'm moderator on it. I don't have a choice. I have to be a moderator on it. I check the Discord channel every day too. I also moderate it because I have to. But I have a team of administrators that help out with that, and shout out to them as well. I would not be able to manage all of these communities online without the help of my admin team. So if you guys are listening to this, thank you so much for all of your efforts and help throughout the years. I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. And of course, I also check out my Twitter every day too. If you guys ever need help or have questions, feel free to shoot me a direct message and I'll try to get back to you as fast as I can.
I'm not sure what you would need my help with, but if you need a laugh, you know where to go. Laugh at the misery of Hamish McTackleberry. I know I do. But yeah, thanks for doing the interview. This has been a lot of fun. Big privilege for me to do it.
And thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yes, thank you everybody. I hope you had a good time. Yeah, we'll see you on the Discords and in the comment sections, and hopefully we'll see you all again for the big 2.0 update when that comes out. I know I'll be covering that, and can't think of anything else to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're gonna go
thanks
now.
For watching, guys.
Go back over to the void for a second, and just leave you guys with an empty screen for the end cards. Thanks for watching, VOD watchers, if you got this far. And I'll catch you next time.